twice a week where we discuss all the latest in pop culture news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just a bunch of other interesting topics that we just kind of shoot the breeze and talk. Today is a special event where with me I have a special guest, which is Vex Electronica. How's it going, Vex?
It's going all right. Can't complain. How about you?
I'm doing well, and I, of course, am Price of Reason. And just so you know that for those of you that are not familiar, even though Vex has been a guest on this very show several times, actually, the second episode of the Night Owl ever, Vex was the co-host as well as the third. Early on, she really helped me when I was trying to, get it off the ground, and that's why there's always a special place in my heart for her.
There's always just a special place in my heart for you, Price, especially after hearing you sing. That changed my life. It was revolutionary.
I feel like this is a bit cynicism here, but okay.
No, genuinely. You have a wonderful singing voice. I would love for you to just sing an intro for me, in all honesty.
Well, now I kind of have a cold, so I would only disappoint. But
It's all right. It's all
if there's anything specific, I'm trying to think. Uh, there was something that recently, I don't know if it was on one of those Mr. Brown things, that somebody was saying something about "Hey Jude," and then I sang a little bit of it, and I think somebody, at least one person, seemed impressed.
right. Ooh. Do you have a clip of it at all that I
I
could
don't
listen
know.
to? Oh, sad.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. But the thing is, I have a cold now, so it's probably not really
A
working
little
very well.
you're a little scratchy there on the higher notes. It's okay.
Probably, yes.
That was still
But
very nice.
I tried my best. I mean, I wasn't even warmed up or anything. I just kind of was out of nowhere. Maybe something with like a lower register. Only like these, when my voice is like this, only like Johnny Cash would work. Like, uh, down to Folsom Prison just to watch him die. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Oh,
happens when you have
dang.
like when you have a cold. Like you go Johnny Cash. In any case, thank you for the compliment, and hopefully within a few weeks, I'll be able to sing properly. But it was still nice that that you said that, and I appreciate it. Uh, a guy in the chat called I have no dick says Price's voice is angelic. Thank you. Coming from you, uh,
Oh my gosh, I was looking for the actual words. I have no dick spelled out. Oh, that's clever.
very,
That's
very
clever.
clever. Yeah. No, he's here from time to time. He's a good guy, but it's a name that's difficult. I want to read his messages, but I always sound like an idiot when I do. Maybe
Maybe
that's the point
say
of
it
the
with a
name.
Russian accent. I have no dick. There you go.
Okay. The dead man says, I want to hear Price sing Manic Monday. That's really, I don't know, especially with the cold, trying to think what it was. Just another manic Monday. Oh, I
That
don't have to work day. I don't even know what the words are.
I
Guess
don't
the
either,
words.
but it's
Uh,
coming out nice.
Wish it were a Sunday, oh, 'cause that's my fun day, oh, I don't have to work day. I have no idea if that's the words. That's probably the worst version, the worst that anybody ever sang that song. All I know is that Prince wrote that song.
Mhm.
Like Prince wrote it. It was like the Bangles. It's some stupid song that's like it almost is like a dumb song, but you could tell that it's pretty well written. And I guess Prince wrote it. Prince used to write songs all the time. He was really talented. And then one day somebody said, "Hey Prince, we have like a check. If we give you money, can you give these ladies a song?" And then I think he just like blew his nose into like a tissue and like gave him this song. He's like, "Ladies, here you go. The Manic Monday. Like, where's the check?" And then like he took it and left, and that was like their number one hit to this day.
Dang, the more you know.
Yeah, I think he wrote that for them, and then he also wrote like for Cyndi Lauper. I think there's a song that he wrote for her also.
Mhm.
Trying to maybe it was called "When You Were Mine." I don't know what. Also, Sinead O'Connor, her biggest hit, he wrote it.
Really?
Nothing compares to you. It's Prince that wrote it.
Wow.
Yeah, and he wrote it, and, I don't really know. I think that in that case, it kind of annoyed him. I feel like in that case, she made such a big hit out of it that it kind of annoyed him. Even
Like,
though, like,
is that just your intuition on it, or is has there been an
I
inkling
I
that he was?
I feel like I read later that they weren't on the best of terms, and I feel like why wouldn't they be? She made so much money with that song for him, and I think, and then he later suddenly released his own version of it. I honestly feel like maybe it was one of those cases that he blew his nose into a tissue and he gave the tissue and that was the song. And then it turned out that it was such a big hit, and he's like, wait a minute, I can sing that better than her, and I think it started annoying him. That's I'm
Oh, okay.
speculating. It could be that they fought over something else mundane and stupid, but I think
Mhm.
that they were never on great terms with each other.
Interesting. I mean, Sinead O'Connor has burned quite a few bridges anyways. She's a controversial figure, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, she was a wacko. I mean, she passed away, and it's not nice to speak ill of the dead, but man, everybody knows she was kind of which is a shame because really, if you think about it, she had a really good voice. She
Great
she did
voice.
she did have talent, and she genuinely knew how to sing and had real talent. It's just
Mhm.
that something in her mind was all kind of messed up. And even that whole thing that she went and started tearing up pictures of the Pope and all this stuff. That's just I don't know. I mean, I understand that you could be provocative and do that, but I feel like those were early signs of her just going off the deep end.
It's also just kind of doing anything for the sake of whenever chicks do that, just like sensationalism, something ain't right there, no matter how big or small it is. So
I
I'm with you
agree.
there.
I
I'm with you
agree,
there.
and it's a shame because sometimes you have people that, like, they don't really have enough to a lot to offer, so all
Mhm.
they can do is that. Like, Cardi B does a bunch of weird things because what else is she gonna do? But I think that Sinead O'Connor actually knew how to sing. Sorry, I know, I don't know if you like Cardi B. I for one cannot understand, like, the whole Cardi B, phenomena. I just don't get it.
You and me both. I don't understand it either, but you know what? Culture has become more and more dependent on degeneracy. So that probably explains why she's popular.
I guess so. I mean, there are certain things, like, I'll give you an example. Billie
Mhm.
Eilish, in my mind, is crap, but I can understand how little girls may think that for some reason that she's good, even though I don't think that she is. Cardi B, like, is beyond even my understanding. I'm like, I don't understand at all who would listen to this.
Okay.
Uh,
Well, I said that I wouldn't say certain words on this stream
oh
tonight.
no.
So I could explain it, but I'm going to withhold.
I assume, knowing you, I assume that what you meant to say is that maybe perhaps there are certain people from certain socioeconomic backgrounds that perhaps would enjoy that Cardi B style. I'm guessing that's what you meant. I don't really
Yes,
know,
that's a
and
much, much nicer way of saying what
I
I want
understand that
to
you
say.
had a less nice way to explain it, but I understand what you're trying to say. Maybe she appeals to a certain crowd, but you know what? Don't underestimate people. There's a lot of people from a lot of different crowds that can spot when something is garbage, when something isn't. Cardi B, for me, I just don't get it. There's nothing. There's nothing to hold on to there. I don't know what the good thing is there, but yeah, maybe I'm just not the target audience. And speaking of target audience,
Mhm.
I guess I wasn't the target audience for the movie Wicked. Did you happen to see that movie?
No, I've never had any interest whatsoever in Wicked, even when it was the hit Broadway show and all that stuff. I just don't care. How was it?
It was awful, and not only was it awful, I posted a review about it, and apparently, I have an explanation as to why this happened. I mean, I don't have. I've said it before. It's not like my channel is the size of the Critical Drinker. When I post a review, I get some views, but it's not that amount of views. But considering the amount of views my video got, the amount of annoying comments I got from people and, like, people having meltdowns about it
Mhm.
was a bit odd. And then when I, how on YouTube you can look, if somebody shared a link, then it shows that it shows what the external sources are.
Yes.
So there was a link and it said, like, theater board UK.
Mm.
And I'm like, who is theater board in the UK? Like, what, why are they watching this video? And then I went and I saw that it was like a forum of people who love the theater in England or something. And I
Mhm.
guess somebody shared my video and called me the I word. I guess I can say, like, the incel word or something like that. Uh,
Gotcha.
so they were commenting about it, and I guess they shared the video, and then I guess other people went and saw the video, which was one of the sources for people coming to my video and commenting. And man, some of the meltdowns were so weird. So weird, some of the meltdowns,
Can you give us
and,
some examples at all?
yeah, I mean, there was one that I had that just, like, this was just really over the top, like, idiotic. Let me show this to you,
Mhm.
because this one just blew me away. I saw this and I'm like, "Okay, this is it." Like, these people are nuts.
I have,
Uh,
like, no in because usually I try to watch your reviews, but if I have no interest in the movie, I won't watch the review on
it's
it.
okay, it's
Yeah.
okay. You didn't miss anything. It's a crappy, the only thing is, if you don't wanna watch the movie and you just wanna get the basic idea of it and why it sucks, it's still it does the job, but, let me see if I can pull this one up.
My
These
understanding of this movie was it seems to so the first of all, I learned only last week that Wicked is a novel, which is crazy. But basically the novel was very progressive, the Broadway show was very progressive. This is very progressive. It honors the source material. If you really like the Wicked source material, you'll enjoy this. If you
what
don't, you won't enjoy. That's my understanding.
well, in my video, what I explained was is that basically the reason why I don't like this whole Wicked thing just in general.
Mhm.
There is the Wizard of Oz movie, the 1939 one. That's a timeless classic. That
Yeah.
is, even though they changed things from the book to screen, I admit it, and they made it a little more gentle for audiences because maybe the books were a little more out there.
Mhm.
Generally speaking, the 1939 movie is an adaptation from the original novels. Okay,
Mhm.
whether you like the way they adapted, you don't like it, they did it, and it became sort of a timeless classic. Well, within the history of cinema, families would sit around even on Thanksgiving as a tradition, watch it. As a kid, I would watch it with my family. I think a lot of other kids had that experience. In around 1995, a guy that was sort of a progressive, in my opinion, activist who
Mhm.
was slash an author decided that he had a great idea. What if he wrote a book called Wicked that basically looked at the story of the Wizard of Oz from the eyes of the witch, painting her as a victim, making her sort of deal with all this kind of istopovia and oppression and things like that, and that actually everybody around her, all the rest, such as men and things like that, are all terrible, like patriarchy, bad things like that, and she's the victim. Now, he wrote this book, which initially nobody cared about, and about 8 years or 10 years later, whatever it is, I guess maybe 8 years later, some guy that produces stuff on Broadway saw it and said, "This is magnificent. What if I put this on Broadway? She's the victim. She's oppressed." And like, he thought it was great. Now, in 2024, we see this in every kind of movie and everything where the villain is suddenly, you have to empathize with the villain, especially if it's a woman and the woman is oppressed. It's stuff that we see in all these kind of movies these days, but then it was a novelty. So they
Mhm.
put it on Broadway. And, after that whole Broadway situation and when they did their initial run, it, it did very well and it was very popular and it won a bunch of awards. And I think that as long as it was on Broadway, it wasn't such a big deal. But once they adapted it for the screen for this 2024 movie, have you seen the marketing? Do you know what I'm
I
talking about? Like,
I've caught some of it, yeah.
what they're trying to do is, even when you see the commercials, they're basically saying, like, "Remember Dorothy? Remember The Wizard of Oz? Remember the Yellow Brick Road?" And they're, like, taking cues and visual cues from the 1939 movie. They're making it seem like this is legitimately a prequel to that movie. Now, you and I are smart enough to go and check the background of this book and know that it's written by an activist that didn't even like the real book and was trying to do all this woke stuff before the word woke was invented. But, basically, most people don't know that. And the way they're marketing it is like, "Oh, take your family to see this. This is a legitimate prequel." But when you go see the movie, which I did, it turns out that the Wizard of Oz likes to abuse animals. That's the bottom line of the movie. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that.
The Wizard of Oz likes to abuse animals. The patriarchy is bad, and in the first movie, they kind of blurred this out because it happens in the play, maybe in the book even more so. I don't
Mhm.
know how if they're going to go there in the second Wizard of Oz. It's going to turn out that he's also the father of the Wicked Witch, the Green Wicked Witch of the West, and
Who'd
that
he
the reason
fucked
he
wait, 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 who'd he fucked for her to turn green?
he Mr. Pudding popped her mother.
What does Mr. Pudding p is it are you talking
Remember?
about grape juice?
Yes.
Okay,
Remember
okay.
remember the guy who Mr. Television's father of the '80s? Remember that guy?
Yes, I do.
So remember that he used to sell pudding pops?
No, I don't remember that, but it's okay.
He was the okay,
I'm
okay.
picking up what you're putting down. I
So
gotcha.
Bill C was the spokesperson for a product called Pudding Pops, and he
Mhm.
used to all the time have commercials that he's holding this like thing that looks like now it's kind of ironic, but it's a pudding. It's like this long thing on a stick
Mhm.
that's chocolate, and he keeps holding it and saying how great it is.
Mhm.
So he was Mr. Pudding Pop. You're not getting the.
I'm not getting it at all, though. But I understand what you're trying to imply using this reference. So, oh, I'm supposed to say sorry, Sean, after because I said the F word.
It's
My
okay. It's totally fine. Basically,
bad.
the bottom line is that it's going to turn out in the second one that the Wizard of Oz, pudding popped the mother of the Green Witch. That still hasn't been explained in the first one. But in the first one, what happens is, first of all, everybody is mean to like the Wicked Witch, who's so stunning and brave, and she just
Mhm.
wants to help animals. And it turns out that everybody wants to abuse animals because there's this new thing that going on that animals are all taken and put in cages, especially the ones that talk. They have to like be put in cages, and people have to make them suffer. And then she
Mhm.
wants to meet the Wizard of Oz. That's the bottom line, and tell him to help her stop like the animal abuse or whatever it is. But it turns out two things. One, she doesn't know that he's actually initially she then finds out that he's behind all the animal abuse because that's what he likes. And the other thing is that he makes her do a spell that like she thinks is going to stop the animal abuse. Instead, it leads to more abuse. So like now she's complicit in abusing animals basically. And then when she gets upset, he sends his guards to like apprehend her. So she flies away on her broom, and that's how she becomes the victim. Uh,
Price, I'm gonna
that's
stop you
basically
right
the
there.
idea of this movie. And I know a lot of people are like, "What are you worried about? There's a bunch of songs and they're singing." I don't care what they're singing. First of all, the songs are terrible. They're terrible songs. And the other thing is, for her father is also a jerk. The second the father sees that the skin is green, he doesn't want her anymore. He's like, "I hate her. I don't want her here. Like, take her away. Like, I never want to see her." Like, he hates his daughter because she has green skin. He
I mean,
doesn't
I
know,
would
by the
too.
way.
Have you seen her? She's ugly, man. She's one of the ugliest people I've ever seen. I'd be ashamed too as a father.
Well, he was.
Of all the sperm, you're the one that got
Uh,
to the egg.
he was nothing to write home about either. But the thing is, people in the comments wrote, "Well, and this is the twisted people that were writing in the comments were like, well, he didn't like her because she wasn't his daughter." I'm like, listen, have you watched this movie? He didn't know it wasn't his daughter. I don't know. They're like, if you read the original book, I don't know. I only know that I watched this movie, and in the movie, he doesn't know she's not his daughter. I only know because it's implied from the play and other things that apparently, if they go this route, she's going to end up being a pudding pop thing in the second
Um,
one.
so okay, hold on. So what you're saying is that because I'm of the firm belief that even if you're adapting something, like you can stay close, like adapt the source material perfectly. That's fine. But a film or TV show adaptation should always be able to stand on its own 2 feet. So are you telling me that this is unable to stand on its own 2 feet without knowing the book and Broadway show knowledge?
I think that in this movie that I saw, I don't think it was well. If they intended to say that the wizard served pudding pops to the mother, I didn't get that from the movie. That's what people in the comments claimed. I then
Mhm.
read more about it, and I guess that's a thing. But it wasn't clear to me from watching the movie. Regardless, if you see this comment here, and this is the type of people that I guess came from this theater board, complaining that Wicked made The Wizard of Oz too woke when L. Frank Baum was a suffragist married to a suffragette who was the daughter of a prominent suffragette. It's hilarious. If you read the original 1900 book, you'd know that the men in Oz don't have any power. It's all the women. And that was on purpose because L. Frank Baum was a feminist, LMAO. There's also a canonically trans character, Ozma, again, from the original author in the 1900s, crying that Wicked made this franchise too woke as a joke when the dude that created it made the most powerful characters women in a time when women couldn't vote and wrote trans characters in children's books before the term trans was a thing. This is so much nonsense in one comment, but it shows you the mindset of the type of people that are complaining about this crap. And for me, when I complain and I see like people talking like this, I only feel like that I've done the right thing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like if this is the reaction that came from it, I
Mhm.
must be on to something because this is a bunch of nonsense. This guy wrote the book of The Wizard of Oz in 1900. I promise you, he didn't know what a trans character was. The reason they're saying it is because there's a character in his book that was born a girl, but because she was in danger, somebody cast a spell on her to make her a boy, so whoever was looking for her wouldn't notice her. And then later, the Glinda came and turned her back into a girl. Now, because somebody turned her into a boy, into a girl with a spell to hide her, or whatever it was, they're deducting from this that he loves 2024, like, trans rights. It's
Mhm.
like this man lived in 1900. I don't think in a million years he had any idea what it is that these people are talking about. And they're also this whole thing. Oh, he was a feminist. He may have thought that his wife should vote, but him saying that his wife should vote in the election is not the 2024 feminism where they shave their head and wear blue bracelets or whatever the fuck they're doing. You know what I
Blue
mean?
bracelets.
No, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, he is not in 1900, he was not looking 124 years into the future thinking, "Wow, what like, let's fight for that kind, let's fight for those blue-haired weirdos." You know what I mean? He's not fighting for them. So maybe he wanted women to vote. So what? That doesn't mean that you get to shit all over his book.
I just the one thing that I'm noticing in this comment is he doesn't actually, because when you do a review, usually, because I haven't seen this one because I don't care about Wicked, but usually when you do a review, is you'll break down the characters, and if it's something you don't like, you'll explain why you don't like it and why it doesn't work. This comment doesn't even seem to be addressing anything that would actually affect the plot or characters of the adaptation. He just seems all up in his feels, or her feels, or its feels, because you've
Yeah, something
established
like
the
that.
political ideology instead
Totally.
of the criticisms that you may have made.
This just shows to me people, like, having meltdowns, and I saw a bunch of them. There was another comment that this one I just said made me laugh, that somebody wrote, "You're entitled to your wrong opinion. Wicked has made more money on Broadway and in the box office than you ever will in your career on YouTube." It's like, it's made like billions of dollars on Broadway. It's obviously going to make on Broadway alone more than I'll ever make on YouTube. I accept that. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to make billions on YouTube. This is such a weird comment. I didn't really even know what to think about it when I looked at it. It's like, I'm just a person on YouTube putting a review.
Mhm.
It's I'm like a little tadpole with like a crown on my head, doing a review. How am I exactly going to make the same money as a Broadway musical that's been there for like 20 years?
S- they're trying to poke the bear. That's it. Wow, I'm glad I'm not into Wicked and that I didn't even bother watching this, because this fandom alone will give me cancer.
I mean, the one thing that I'll say is that now today there was rumor. I think Valiant Renegade said it. I haven't really looked at the details, but apparently there's a rumor now that they were saying that it cost maybe 200 or 300 to make it to make the movie. Now they're saying it may have cost 500, but I couldn't understand if it's 500 and they filmed parts 1 and 2 within the 500. If they filmed parts 1 and 2, they're still going to make their money here. I don't know how much money they're going to make, but I think this movie.
I just got disconnected. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. Was I disconnected or were you disconnected?
No, like my whole browser just closed down on its own for some
Oh,
reason.
but now
I
now you're back
apologize.
and better than before even.
Oh, was my audio not crisp
No, I'm
before?
just kidding, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
No, but you're back. Like, I never
okay.
noticed that you weren't here, but maybe I was just talking to myself. Uh, in any case, what was I saying? That they're saying that basically they spent a lot of money on this movie. Now, until now, and this is just interesting with the box office, I just wanna look at how much it made.
Okay. I think this
Uh
will do probably, if not a billion, very close to a billion.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that it's going to do $1 billion.
Yeah,
Uh, Initially, I said that, and then people are like, "No, maybe it won't," but I think it will, and
it will.
I think that the reason it will, and this is the real reason, there are women that are prepared to see this over and over again. There's When you have something like that where women just want to keep seeing it over and over again, that's usually a sign that this is going to make money. I think it's going to make. In my review, I said I think it's going to make $1 billion. Since then, I have people. My friend Tom Connors is like, listen. He said to me, like, listen, the international isn't going as well as they thought. Maybe that's true. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. All I know is that I feel like it's going to make $1 billion because there's women that really want to see this over and over again. Even women that I like and respect, like Steph, My Nerdy Home,
Mhm.
who's very nice, but she seems to like this movie, and like even Lorena Creole, I think, likes it. There's women that are prepared to go see this over and over again, even ones that are like more based, and I would think would notice that it's kind of crappy, but I don't know. I mean, people like whatever
It's
they
the
like.
it's the source material. It's close to the source material. That's all that really matters to
But the
those
source
people.
material is fan fiction that was set to. It's like what I was telling people. It's as if, oh, you don't watch Star Wars, so you don't care about that. Um, which franchise do you like? Is there anything that you like?
Despicable Me.
It's as if like a few people on Reddit wrote like some crap about Despicable Me and did this like fan fiction that like all the people that you like are like the worst, and like they all have want to bang each other and I don't what, and they wrote some stupid book, and then that became a movie, and like the company releasing the movie made it seem like it's a legitimate sequel to Despicable Me or prequel.
That's actually quite disturbing because I know that there are bitches out there that do write fan fiction about Gru and about
And
minion
that's what
sex.
exactly.
So,
This is like this is a fan's in a way, this is a fan's worst nightmare. Yes, Wizard of Oz is not the same thing for me like Star Wars or Star Trek or stuff like that, but I did grow up liking it, and it's a really nice story for families and children and things like that. So
mhm.
I don't think it's cool that somebody went and did this fan fiction. The only reason why everybody's letting it slide is that this just happened over a long period of time. I think that like Wizard of Oz has been hijacked over the past 20 to 25 years from family friendly, nice kind of story for children. It became something more LGBT community. It became more Broadway. It became more women. It became more oppression, victimhood, and patriarchy bad. And it happened over the course of a few decades, so people didn't really notice. And now people are just still programmed. Oh well, it's following the source material again. Source material, which is in itself false, crappy fan fiction.
I mean, I'm I don't know enough about Wicked to comment, so but I agree with the sentiment you're making
You're gonna
regardless.
have to trust me that it's a piece of crap, and really, even if at least the songs were good, if at least the songs were good, I say, listen, it's all crap, but the songs are kind of catchy. The songs are the worst. It disappoints me. They're like, well, women love them. You know what? That disappoints me. That women would sit through this thing and think this song is great. I'm very, very disappointed.
I mean, I have comments about women, but I don't think that would be appropriate language-wise either on
No,
this stream,
I
so
would try to guess, but I better shut up now. The other movie, did you see Gladiator 2?
Hot take, I don't think Gladiator 1 was a very good movie, so I did not care for 2. I didn't think 2 was necessary whatsoever, so I will not be watching 2 at any point in my life ever, probably.
I'll tell you what. I think that number the first Gladiator movie.
Mhm,
I'm not saying that for me that's the best movie ever made. But
mhm.
what I'll say is that it's a movie that sets out to do something. I think it does it well. It has a clear story that has a beginning, middle, and ending. It has a memorable performance from Russell Crowe in in
Yes, I'll give it that.
in his prime, I would say. Meaning, it's not that he's not a good actor today, but when it comes to being like physical and like looking the part and bringing the charisma exactly what he needed, the physicality to the role, I
Mhm,
think that that movie gets a lot of stuff right. It's a competently made movie. Is it my favorite movie of all time, Gladiator? No. Is it a movie that I think is good? Yes. But Gladiator 2, like you said, is unnecessary. It's not only unnecessary, you can tell when they made the first Gladiator movie that they had no intention of ever making a second one. It
mhm,
has a definitive ending. It's really very much like this kind of standalone movie. And
mhm.
in order to make this new movie, the second one, they had to really conjure up some retcons in order to seemingly make this one logical.
I'm sorry,
Once
what?
you what'd you say?
They retconned the first movie to make this work?
They basically made changes to the first one so that this one I'll explain it to you. Do you
Okay, okay.
remember the first movie?
More or less, yes.
So what happens there is that early on in the movie, it turns out that his
Son?
wife and child.
Mhm.
Hold on, let's see. Professor R2. I just want to see. He sent a message here. I see how it is, Vex. It's too late to join us on the Night Owl, but it's not too late to join Price. I don't understand what that was. What he meant.
He's upset that I didn't join when he was here.
Ah,
But
okay. Yeah,
no,
no, she's
yeah.
just usually very busy. Gladiator 2 retroactively ruins Gladiator. That's what Professor R2 says. Yes, I agree with you. It does retroactively ruin it. And that's my issue. So in the first movie, what happened was is that Maximus, he has a wife and kid
Mhm,
and
mhm,
son. Now,
mhm.
after that whole thing happens and his wife and son are killed, that's the biggest tragedy in his life, and he's
Yes.
looking that in the next life he's going to meet his wife and his kid. Now, the story of the sister of Joaquin Phoenix, Connie Nielsen, their name is like Lucia or something like that, and
Mhm.
her son Lucius. That's sort of a story where she's in trouble, and by killing Commodus, the guy that Joaquin Phoenix plays, the fake emperor, like that killed his whatever,
Yep.
by killing him, he basically sets her and her son free. He's helping them, and at the end, before she walks up to him, and he says, like, she says, "You did it," and he goes, "Are you and your son? Is your son safe? Is Lucius safe?" And she's like, "Yes, yes, everything is great." And then he dies, and it's sort of a way that even though in his real life, his wife and kid, he couldn't save them, he was able to save her. Now, yes, early on in the movie, it implies that at one point in her life she had feelings for him, but she was
Yes.
married to somebody else. It's never implied that he's the father of this Lucius guy. Never. There's no implication. And if he was, and this is my claim, if he was the father of Lucius, and at that point when Lucius' life is in danger and they're plotting everything, and let's say he managed to save the kid, she would walk up to him and he'd say, "Is Lucius safe?" She would say, "Yes, and he's your son. You saved him." Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she
Yeah.
tell him that he did the final act? He's dying. Why won't you tell him that he saved his son if that is in fact his son? And the reason why she doesn't say it, because it's not his son. It was like a mirrored situation that this lady that he cared about and her son, he managed to save them, even though he couldn't save his own wife and son. There's a little bit of symbolic something there. The movie ends, he meets his real wife and son, the movie ends, and that's it. In this movie, you know what happens? They retcon it that he was always the father of Lucius. She just forgot to tell him or didn't want to tell him, or I don't know what, which is like,
Mhm.
why? Why wouldn't you tell him? So that's one thing that doesn't make sense. The other thing is the second the movie ends, they do like a flashback to him dying. The second the movie ends, she takes Lucius, puts him on a horse, and says the horse has to, like, you have to run away on this horse. And this kid is a little boy. She puts him on the horse and says, "Go, go, like go away." And the horse like rides off, like, and takes him away. And the kid and the horse never return.
What?
I know. Nobody believes me. She puts him on the horse, and the horse like runs away. And she's like, "This is the only way that I can save your life. You have to go on this horse and disappear." Because she says, "Because of your father, you're gonna have to die. Like people are gonna want to kill you." And it's like, which father? They think the father is somebody else. Why
Oh,
would they?
so it's not public knowledge that, was it Maximus is his father?
It wasn't. She decided at that moment that he's his father, and I don't even understand what she's talking about. Why are people gonna want to kill him?
Woman
Like,
logic. That's all you need to know.
I can't figure it out. I'm trying to wrap my head around it. The thing is, the movie never ended with her saying, "Maximus, oh no, you're dead. Now, like, me and my son are in trouble." That's not what she says. She says that he saved him. Why would she put him on a horse and send him away? So then that way he can go away and he becomes like a different man with a different name. Now it gets even worse. He basically he lives in some other place that's far from Rome or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And he wants to fight the Roman army. So he goes and he joins his friends to fight them. He has like armor and whatever. And he gets them in the morning and there's a woman with him. And you think, okay, well, that's his wife. He's going to go to fight now. So as he puts on his armor and whatever, and suddenly you look at her and she puts on armor too.
What?
It, in ancient Rome, she puts on armor so they can go fight the Roman army together.
Um, I think that's just, that's historically inaccurate, isn't it?
I think so too. I mean, to be completely fair, also there's also a whole plot line with like Denzel Washington, which also, I mean, I'm not saying I don't know what skin color people had in Rome, but I don't know that somebody of his skin color would rise to prominence in the way this character does. I simply don't know. You know what? Maybe I could Google and check it out. With all that being said, even though historically I don't think his casting really fits, I will say that Denzel Washington is the best actor in the movie, and at least if nothing else, it's entertaining to watch him because all the rest is kind of, at least story wise, it's dumb. I don't want to use that word that I told you not to use, but you know which one, the one that
I
starts with the R.
let's say, okay, the safe word that I've made for that is dent-headed.
Is what?
Dent-headed.
Dent-headed?
Dent-headed. Like you're a dent head, like you're missing part of your head?
I guess so, a dent-head. I'll accept that. It's a
Okay.
dent-headed, logic. And yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're watching the movie and you just turn off your brain, and I was telling this to people, if you're, you know how when you watch like Fast and Furious 7, you're not thinking if that even makes sense because you know it doesn't. If you're prepared to have that kind of attitude, you could maybe enjoy Gladiator 2 for just being like a dumb movie that just has some stuff on the screen here and
Mhm.
there, a scene that may be like interesting to look at, but really there's no substance there. It's an unnecessary movie that retcons the first, undoes the first, and really um, doesn't build on the story in any way. Like you could have never made it, and it wouldn't have been an issue at all.
Do we, because I haven't followed, the behind the scenes or whatever since this released, but who pushed for the sequel? Do we know?
I assume that it was a combination of a few things. First of all, studios always want to revive some kind of IP. The other
Mhm.
thing is Ridley Scott is already like 80 something. He doesn't have a bunch of like great hits on his belt right now. He's not really doing too much. And unfortunately, I know this sounds terrible, but I think that like at 80 something years old, if somebody's willing to give him a check for a lot of money for to sit on a set and make some movie, for him just going and making the movie is fine. You know what I mean? Just do it. He's working, is doing whatever he's doing, and that's fine. I mean, the movie, it's not like it's not competently directed. It's just that, man, couldn't why don't you make another movie? What do something that's also has these kind of themes, but make something else. I don't know why you had to revisit this thing. There's no more story to tell. And I later he said in an article, "Oh, I'm working on 3, 4, and 5 now. Please don't. Please do not work on 3, 4, and 5." I also think that this movie went above budget. They
Wait,
wanted it
hold
to.
on. Sorry, sorry. Stop there for a second. You said that there's a Gladiator 3, 4, and 5?
No, there was an article that Ridley Scott, the director, said that who
Uh-huh.
was 80 something years old, I think, said something like, "I'm so happy right now. I'm already working on Gladiator 3, 4, and 5." It's like, "What? Dude." Like the movie, I think the studio wanted it to cost 150 million, and because all these coups, I don't know what happened. I don't know what reasons it went to like 300 and something million. It is never going to make that money back. It has to make like 800, 900 million at the box office. Right now, let me see how much it made. It made It made 239 million
Ouch.
worldwide. Listen, that's not nothing. If the movie was, let's say, $150 million budget with like a minor marketing budget, I would say that like, yeah, maybe they could somehow break even. At 300 and something million, I don't even know how much they spilled into the marketing. This thing, if it's not $1 billion, it's not going to make it back, and I don't think it will.
It
At this
won't.
at the same time, Wicked, I think, is gonna. I thought $1 billion. The international may be a bit wobbly. Because of the international, maybe I'll accept that it's more like 750 to a billion, maybe 800 to a billion range. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's a billion. I think that there's
You
just women
know,
that'll just keep
yeah,
watching it over and over again.
the women, like, aside from the women that will go and rewatch this, the other thing is they're not going to do the 30-day digital release for Wicked. That's gonna stay in theaters for Christmas. And it's gonna be making bank because it's family friendly, it's a musical, it's colorful, it's not Disney product. Because the only other family friendly thing that's coming out is Mufasa. I don't think that will do very well because
I
I
hope it flops. I hope it
yeah,
flops big time.
Disney's destroyed a lot of faith in even normie customers. And then the other family friendly thing is Sonic, but Sonic, it's just I think the last two entries were around 200 million total box office. It's
I
it's not it's not a huge grabber for a lot of people. It'll still do well, but it's not the first choice.
Sonic though went up, I think, from movie to movie. I think the
It
first one
did.
was like a few hundred, then it was like 4 or 500. I think worldwide. I think that this one will make more than the previous two, and I think that if nothing else, it'll eat away at Mufasa. It's the cooler movie for little kids to watch. I think that Mufasa, it's one thing if they were redoing The Lion King, you had enough okay, The Lion King, but Mufasa now, I don't know. That's like a prequel to The Lion King, and not only that, they're making the whole idea of Mufasa is that Scar is the sympathetic villain, and everything was stolen from him because of oppression or I don't know what. Some
Oh,
the usual. I don't know
They
what,
were
like
oppressing the Dark
lion
Alliance.
oppression. The lions are oppressing him or something. I don't know what. Trust me, they'll figure out whatever stupid agenda propaganda they want to put in there. They're going to figure out exactly how to shove it in there. It may not make sense, but they'll shove it in there anyways. So yeah, a lot of weird crap. And
Listen, listen. Anyone who has children, the only family movie that you should be going to see on Christmas is Nosferatu. Let your children experience peak while they're young. Just saying. Just
Professor
saying.
R2 wrote she was banging so many guys said, or she wasn't sure who the daddy was, I guess, in Gladiator. I don't know, man. I mean, she seemed very sure in the previous movie. How is it that she, on his deathbed, like he, or whatever it is, like he's about to die, she's talking to him. She couldn't say it was his son. That just really keeps me up at night. What?
keeps you up at night.
It does. Like I don't understand this lady. Like it doesn't. And why would she put her son on a horse and tell him to go away? Like I don't
Because
get it.
women aren't logical, Price. That's all you need to know.
Like the first movie, she was willing to lay her life on the line and do everything just to not leave her son's side. This movie like retcons the ending. This Maximus is dead. She puts the son on a horse and he's like, "Giddy up." That's it. And then she marries like Pedro Pascal and like
Ugh.
forgets about her son. Her son is gone.
Gross.
And that's before I even mentioned that Pedro Pascal is in this movie. And man, am I sick of seeing him in movies.
Is he a charisma vacuum in this?
He is once again a charisma vacuum, as he always is. Listen, there's been roles that I thought he was okay. I think he was okay in Narcos. I think that he was okay in Game of Thrones. I think that he was okay in that movie with Nicolas Cage. Here and there, he does a role that I think he's okay at. But I don't think he's this kind of actor that's like, okay, let's just put him in everything. He can do any role.
He's
He's
not
not that
versatile
type of
like that.
actor. He's not
Mhm.
that type of actor.
I gotcha.
He's not like Christian Bale. They're like, now he can do this. Now he can do. No, he can't. He can't. There's like limited things he can do. Plus, just like the overexposure. Listen, I don't blame him. If I were him and like people kept offering me money, I'd just take it. And I think to myself, this isn't going to last forever. There is a window of time in which people are going to keep paying me. And like even he probably can't believe how much money he's making. So he's just accepting any role and taking all the money. You'd think that by now they'd already say, like, okay, we're oversaturating the market with him, but nope. They just need to put him in more movies.
I can't stand Pedro Pascal. Every time I see his face, it makes me want to rip out my ovaries. I don't understand how women find him attractive. He has an anus for a face. Like actually.
I also don't understand. Do you remember that he said that thing? I don't know if R2 was the one that reminded me this, but he said that thing that when he's around women, he has to put his hands on them because he has anxiety, and the only way to cure his
Yes.
anxiety is if he puts his hand on
He
ladies.
touches people. Yeah, yeah. He
That
also
is,
I don't ever since so do you remember I don't know if you remember hearing when he was on the set of The Last of Us season 1 with oh my god, who's that ugly autistic chick that plays the
I know what you mean. I know what you
yeah,
mean.
okay. She's non-binary or whatever, right?
Of
And I
course.
think she was like 17 or 18 when they started filming that show. And apparently, the way that they bonded on set was that he opened up about his gay sister or trans sister or whatever and
Oh,
help and like and connected with her over her non-binariness. And all
oh.
that was going through my mind is that's what predators do. They like
That's weird.
yeah, it's very and this is like a 40, 50-year-old man doing this to basically a teenager, which was
Yeah, it's strange. I don't really know why he needs to talk to this girl about her pronouns or whatever it is, but I don't know. Pedro Pascal seems to be like Teflon. I mean, don't forget that he posted at the same time that they, got rid of Gina Carano and wanted to publicly humiliate her. He posted with like much, if anything that you can say that she posted I personally don't think it was offensive. I think that, it was sort of an analogy, whatever it is, it's fine. You can agree with it or you can not agree with it. He actually went and said that half of the people in America are German mustache men. He
mm,
said it in a post using the imagery. It was very clear what he said. Nobody ever held him accountable. Nobody ever told him to say he was sorry. And I even remember this until this day because it was bizarre. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers did this video about how like he did this thing and he was highlighting the kind of memes that he was posting and things that he was posting on his account. And then like Pedro Pascal watched Jeremy's video and was making fun of Jeremy for making the video. It's
Wait,
like
what? That happened?
that actually happened. Yes, I mean, I think I now I think I live in a dream or something. But I think it makes me laugh that Pedro Pascal sat and watched Jeremy saying like, "Man, I can't believe Pedro Pascal said this," is like he's saying all this stuff. So then, like, I think Pascal wrote something like, "Oh, like he can't even pronounce my name right," or I don't know what, because he called him Pedro Pascal. He's like
I-
Pedro. I don't know what.
Isn't that how you pronounce it, or is it you have to roll something Pedro? Is
I
that
guess
it?
you're supposed to call him like Pedro Pascal, but like who's gonna call him that? Or maybe Pedro Pascal, but I don't know. Most people, I don't know why. Maybe because since I know that it annoyed him that Jeremy called him Pedro Pascal, but like he wrote something. There was something in his comment that he wrote that like Pedro Pascal, implying basically he watched Jeremy's video. I remember at the time that it was a thing, and then I think he went to Instagram and deleted those those memes. But man, whatever he posted was far worse than what anything Gina Carano did, and
I
nobody
agree.
has said anything to him. As long as he goes around and it's like pronouns for Kamala or whatever it is, like everybody's cool with him.
Let's see what happens to Pedro's career over the next 4 or 5 years, given that the tides are shifting a wee bit.
Yeah, I mean, he may be somebody that gets less roles after that whole thing happens, but I'll tell you what, even if he does, he's grabbed so many checks, so many checks. It's like
Mm.
the most working actor in the history of cinema. He's working on like even The Mandalorian. He doesn't even have to show up. There's like body doubles that do the work, and then he sits like probably like on his toilet into his phone. He says, "Grogu, we have to go," and then like they dub it, and like that's it.
He's probably jerking off to post-trans surgery photos or something. I find it very odd that a man of his popularity, a man of his wealth, and a man of his age has not been spotted with any woman or man. Just saying. Just saying. A little weird. Because, like, usually it's just the ones that are, like, the exception to the rule, they're not a butt face, you know? Like, there's actually talent there and charisma there, but he's got none. Like, okay, he's got some talent, but he's got no charisma. He's just creepy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about him. I don't get it either. It's like I think that he would be okay as sort of like a character actor, maybe in a secondary role in certain things. There's something you can put him in, but
Mhm.
like this kind of leading man that you give every role to, that's a far cry from what his talent is.
Empress on Rumble said, "Well, ever since that island closed, he's had a dry spell."
Oh no.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anyways, so Gladiator 2 sucks.
Gladiator 2 sucks, and he sucks in it. He is not
Okay.
the highlight of that movie, he sucks in it, and, like I said, the only thing that I thought was genuinely good is that I think that Denzel Washington is such a good actor that even if you put him in a complete piece of crap movie with a very wobbly screenplay, he'll
Mhm.
give 500% of himself to sell it, and even though his casting is sort of may not be the most organic even to this time period, he's such a good actor that I will still say that he's still the only proper thing about this movie. But the movie doesn't really have a right to exist.
Mhm.
But that's Hollywood for you. And
Mhm.
I guess let me stop sharing that. But on this thumbnail, I did put that Elon Musk picture, so I wanted to just
You
touch
did.
upon that.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've noticed, Elon Musk, he's recently gotten involved in a few things that until now we haven't seen him getting involved in. First of all, the first thing that happened was that he responded to some tweet that Grums posted about D&D. The creator of D&D, basically the people that are running D&D or own it or whatever it is now, anytime they mention the guys that created it, they write how they're istophobes. I don't know why they do this, just to discredit them. And they're like, oh, today we're correcting like all of their misogyny and like their bad behavior. I don't know what it's like. you wouldn't be here without those people. Stop fucking around. Also, I never like when they go back like 70 years or whatever, 50 years, and they're like, oh, 50 years ago, like he wasn't feminist enough. 50 years ago, nobody was feminist. Like, shut up. Or not the feminist that you're thinking now. You know what I mean? So 50 years ago, he didn't like pronouns. He probably didn't even know what they were. That's the thing that they keep trying to paste like 2024 ideologies to people from 50 years ago. And even the same guy that they were like saying shit about, his daughter was saying like, listen, my father was a product of his time. He was born to in 1938. Obviously, his standards weren't what they are in people's are in 2024. But he was a good father. He was nice to his daughters. We played these games together with him. He was a good man. You know what I'm saying? So like. They just decided to like start throwing him under the bus. So I think Grums posted something, and then like Elon Musk out of the blue, like answers Grums' post and says like, "I hope that these people burn in hell." Did you see that?
It's popped up on my timeline, but I didn't read the whole thing because I don't care about Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I mean it's not.
Yeah.
I was telling Professor R2 last time that
Mhm.
growing up I didn't really play Dungeons and Dragons, and the reason not is that I only had one group of friends that played it, but they
Mhm.
had started playing prior to me talking with them about it. And at the
Gotcha.
time, I guess they were already set in their own thing that they were doing, and they just didn't invite me. Maybe it was like too late to
Aw.
invite you now, or I don't know what. So I never got a chance to play that thing. I don't know if it's good or not, but I will say that the people that I later met in life that have played it really credit that with like giving them a lot of imagination and helping
Mhm.
them in life and things like that. It's really important to a lot of people, and that I do
Mhm.
respect.
Mhm.
So the idea of taking something that a few guys invented 50 years ago and trying to paint them in a negative light because like in 2024 you don't like things that they said 50 years ago, I just don't like that in general. It doesn't
I don't
matter if it
either.
I don't care if it's Dungeons and Dragons or if it's anything else. It reminds me of the guy that invented the game console. What's his name? Fuck. Sorry, I said fuck.
Which game console?
What was his name? Noel. Uh, Noah Bushnell or whatever his name is, right?
Okay.
Am I right? Is it Noah Bushnell?
Let's see. Okay. No, Noah.
Noah Bushnell. Yeah, okay. Noah Bushnell. Nolan Bushnell. Okay, I got you. That's what I meant. So basically, Nolan Bushnell, he invented the gaming console, which is basically the Atari 2600. And a few
Okay.
years ago, at the height of all this like nonsense of all these woke weirdos and all these weird things that were happening, basically they wanted to give him an award because he invented the gaming console. And really, if you think of the industry today, the gaming industry, the guy that invented the gaming console should get an award, right?
Yes.
So some lady popped up and said, "Do you know that in 1974 you went like I don't know some story? I guess uh, the guy used to have maybe like he lived in a home and he had a jacuzzi." And like he invited people that would hang out with him in the jacuzzi and like they talk about games and stuff. And I don't really understand what happened with the jacuzzi and the games, but something about it she complained. And then because of that, they refused to give him the award.
Hold on. Hold
Uh,
on. She complained.
she complained, yes.
She. Okay. Again, it's all adding up, guys. Just don't let women into hobbies, but continue.
No, so I guess this woman worked with him or for him or something like that. And a lot of people, including women, after she made that statement, got up and said, listen, we were there and this lady is full of shit. You know what I mean? They say,
Mhm.
also keep in mind that, again, today when you think of games, you think of these kind of stuffy studios with all these corporate suits walking around. Back in the 70s, being part of some like high tech thing with like companies and whatever, they're like hanging around in swimming pools and like doing crazy shit and drinking and probably doing all these like recreational activities. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like
I
basically,
gotcha. It's a more chill, more creative, friendly environment,
it's
basically.
like an ongoing party bonanza. That's what it sounds like was going on there. And in the midst of it, they're like, "Hey, why don't we create this crazy game?" And like everybody's like drinking beer and doing crazy shit, which include men and women, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like there was just a certain culture, and it seemed like most of the people, the way they describe it, it wasn't like a hostile situation, but more like a bunch of people, like a small, tight knit group of people having fun and doing crazy crap together and making these games and inventing like a whole industry. So they were
Mhm.
really kind of pushing back. Even ladies that said, listen, I'm like a left leaning liberal woman, whatever, this and this. I refused, like, I'm putting my foot down. This lady's like a liar. And they still didn't give him the award. And I always remember that. And you know what? At the end, what he did was is that he actually said himself that he's removing himself from the event and he doesn't want to take away or make people feel uncomfortable. Like they made him at the end retreat and like say, "Oh, I'm sorry for existing. I'll leave now." And then they said, "Well, we'll give his prize to a woman now." It's like, what do you mean you'll give his prize to a woman? He invented the gaming console.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That really happened. That really happened, and nobody ever says anything about it. Like, I don't know, even all those people that now, like all those, people. I'm really happy. It's really nice that all those guys are talking about the gaming stuff, and there's a lot of stuff happening now. I think that at the time, the way that everybody rolled over when that happened, that was like a bad sign.
R2 says in the chat, just FY, Ralph H. Baer invented the first gaming console, the Odyssey, same guy who invented the Simon game.
What? Okay, you know what? I'll probably give Professor R2 that he's right, but the first gaming console that was really a thing and caught on, the one that like everybody had and became
The
like a
Atari.
household, that's
Yeah.
that's him with the Atari. Whatever it is that people created before, it just wasn't. So he says he was a pioneer, but wasn't the first. Maybe, but I will say that he was the first person to create a gaming console. Like today, when you think of like the PlayStation or the Nintendo or something like that, he created one that became a household name. And at minimum, I would give him that credit.
That's
Wh-
fair.
Whether there was somebody before that like invented something that like a few people played and said like, oh, that's interesting, but he made it like a viable commercial thing that had its own games and all this other stuff. It is um totally makes sense to give the guy an award.
I get you. I get what you're saying.
So yeah, and they set it up, the whole ceremony and everything, and you had to like bow out and say, "Oh no, what have I done?" And everybody was saying, "What have you done? We're going to give the prize to a woman." I don't know why, that just annoyed me. But what the reason I'm saying it is that I feel the same thing with the D&D stuff. What are you going back to 1973, 1972, 1974? I don't know what it is. It's like the world was different then. You realize that 50 years have gone by and whatever you think now is cool and not cool did not apply to people 50 years ago.
Didn't apply to a whole lot of things 50 years ago. Yeah, I agree with
Right.
you.
I mean, what can you do? Times change all the time. Like they're things don't stay the same. There's always like a change. So the fact that Elon Musk wrote that, I thought that it was a big deal because he was sort of putting his foot down on something, regardless if you like the D&D or not. It meant something. And I thought, okay, well, he put his foot down here. I didn't expect so soon to see him start getting involved in other stuff. And that brings us to what our next thing here, which is the DEI in gaming. Of
The studio, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think what started all of this was it the what's his
So,
face?
from what I understand, because yeah, that D&D thing popped up on my timeline. I didn't because Dungeons and Dragons got co-opted by quote unquote woke people and ideology almost a decade ago. So for most people, including D&D players, this isn't anything new. Every time something D&D related seems to catch on in the mainstream, it's because, anti-woke grifters and content creators essentially are just like, "Oh, here's another thing that I can pin to my bias that will help sell a point to, my followers or whatever." But this isn't anything new for D&D. But Elon caught on to that, and I think basically the next day after that, he put out a tweet that he's sick of all this ideology in gaming. He's going to make gaming great again, and he's going to start an AI gaming company to do that. That's what it was.
I see. I mean, the thing is that, one could talk about whether the AI gaming is a good idea or not, but what I think, has really been stirring the pot here and also got him involved in some way is this Matt Hansen guy,
Mhm.
and that's everything that has to do with that Avowed game.
Avowed, yeah.
So, I think this is something that, let's try to share this thing here.
Okay. I think the timing was coincidental with that. There's an overlap. Oh, yeah, this guy called out Elon. I keep forgetting that. Okay. Thank you for bringing this up.
Yeah, I mean, this is really. I think that what happened was, I have no way of proving it. I think that Elon ran into that Grum's post, and because simultaneously, while he was already interacting with his Grum post, this other thing was going on. He
Yes.
suddenly set his sights on this thing, but it's such a strange twist of fate because, like, I feel like all the worlds of everything around us are sort of colliding and overlapping, and it's just a very strange time that we live in, where right now. You have that Avowed game, and you have this guy Matt Hansen, which is one of the devs for this. And man, this guy is a weirdo. He keeps writing all this stuff about like not liking white people and how white people are bad and I don't know what. And then I guess you had Grums and a few other people commenting, and a few other people commenting on that, on how that what is this guy talking about? Now, Elon Musk in this original tweet, it should not be acceptable for any company in the gaming industry to be racist and sexist against white guys. That was in response to this Matt Hansen's comments about how he doesn't want to hire white guys or whatever it is.
Yeah,
So
so Matt Hansen, after he got pushed, because like the Avowed, so okay, couple days ago, because there's a bit of a snowball effect leading up to this, right?
right,
So Avowed got announced a couple years ago. It had a gameplay in 2022. It was supposed to come out some time ago, but they keep pushing it back. Now it's coming out February 18th, 2025. So they had another gameplay release happen last week. There's some people that got hands on and they posted some early reviews. And in one of those reviews, people began pulling and posting a screen cap from like the character,
okay,
not the creator, but like the character bio thing. For those that aren't aware, so Avowed, it's made by Obsidian, which is owned by Microsoft. It's an open world fantasy RPG. It's akin, like it reminds me a lot of Oblivion, personally. Elder Scrolls Oblivion. So,
okay,
in the creator thing, so you can pick between a male and female body, you can pick your character's skills, their background, and this is all meant to play into their interactions and how the story develops later on. And in there, someone noted, like, took a screenshot and it says he, him, like the pronouns are there. No,
right,
so that's what started this all. We don't have to dive into that. But that's what snowballed everyone starting to harp on Avowed. And then in the midst of this, like someone, I guess on one of the tweets that Avowed made, someone had posted something about being like uncomfortable or like not uncomfortable, but they weren't like a fan of the pronoun thing or whatever, even though the outrage over the pronoun thing was kind of unjustified. I'm going to be honest. Mm. So, and then Matt Hansen, he went just like basically just started kind of like he put a clown and laughing emoji. And she's just like, "I'm a consumer of your product. Why would you be laughing at me? Like I have a The way she worded her response was very fine. It wasn't like she wasn't trying to antagonize him. She wasn't being aggressive. It was just like as a consumer, this is a concern I have. And then Matt Hansen basically lost the plot completely. He has a Blue Sky account and on there, he tweeted, "Hey, if you're a black developer, send me your resume. We need to get all these like crusty white guys out of the industry," sort of deal. Then people screenshotted that, and this is what Elon is responding to.
I see.
Yeah.
In any case, I think that the bottom line is this man, Matt Hansen, in my opinion, is an idiot. This is not helpful with customer relations.
No.
Whether or not you think they overreacted with pronouns or didn't overreact,
Mhm.
that's a separate thing. If
Mhm.
there's a company and they're releasing a product and they spend so much money on it and it's minimum like customer relations, you're not looking to go and just at least just shut the fuck up. Basically, you don't want to say anything, just shut the fuck up and leave it alone. The fact that he thinks he needs to say all this stuff, and then the worst part that he wants to like what he thinks he's egging on Elon Musk. I think that that's a really poor strategy. Meaning, like, you really don't want this guy on. You don't want to be on this guy's radar. Really, I mean, do you understand how many followers he has? He could just sit around and say
Yeah.
he
He
doesn't
doesn't
like
have
the game.
Right, he can literally, like, twist this algorithm to make things trend, basically, which is what has come to light in recent, weeks, actually, about his whole subscription program on Twitter. I don't That's a conspiracy hole I've enjoyed going down. But, yeah, I don't understand this. I've been saying for a while that much like, Hollywood, like, gaming studios need to in their contracts for all of their employees, you need to put rules about social media presence. Because much like how, legacy media doesn't sell a film anymore, the same is about gaming. Nobody goes to check IGN or Kotaku or Games Radar for a rating anymore. They want to hear what their favorite gaming content creator or streamer has to say about it. It's word of mouth that sells a game more than anything. So there's some strength that like social media and content creators do have in terms of like I guess the hype around a game, but yeah, like this is I had I was actually quite excited about Avowed. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a fan of some of the designs that they chose for like the NPCs. I don't think they look particularly interesting or fun, but I like that it felt like it had some personality cuz I've just been having this issue where I see a lot of games coming out and I like the idea of them. And then I watch gameplay. I'm just like, this looks like literally 20 other games I've seen come out this year. There's nothing interesting or unique that is selling me. And the Avowed gameplay looked pretty like I didn't care much. Like I didn't care about it before. And I was just like, oh, I'm kind of hyped for this. I didn't care about the pronoun thing. I'm gonna be honest. I don't give a shit. As long as you're not forcing pronouns on me, I really don't care. Um, but yeah, the developer and then the Avowed official Twitter account was going and blocking people asking about the pronouns too. That doesn't look good at all. It really doesn't. And Matt Hansen's comments about hiring black devs, like I know this is kind of most of us are aware that this is happening already. I don't not a lot of people like that I'm aware of in the content sphere are pointing it out, but like making what's it called? Like Microsoft, for instance, established a studio. It was in I think 2020 or 2021, somewhere around there, where it was only for black developers. It was a studio exclusively for black developers, and they toted this thing like a badge of pride or whatever. There's a site on Microsoft's or Xbox's homepage for it as well. But like hiring based on skin, like even I've applied for a job at Microsoft, by the way, and the amount of check boxes there are related to skin color, ethnicity, sexual preference, and pronouns is crazy. So this is Microsoft culture leaking in through the devs, unfortunately. And I say that as someone that has an Xbox and is quite happy with the Xbox environment. This is just terrible. I just like this has killed any interest I really have in this game. I'll try it maybe on Game Pass. I'm not gonna put any money into this, but bro, like your game could have been salvaged. You didn't need to be having a this is like a tampon level meltdown. This is so unnecessary. You've killed your game before it's gained any momentum.
I agree with you 100%. And sometimes I think that these companies, if they did nothing, if he said nothing, if they stopped blocking people, if they didn't do anything, they'd probably be in a better position.
Sorry, say that again?
Sometimes the best course of action is nothing, meaning if this Matt Hansen guy said nothing and did nothing, he would be in a better position now.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't like this is like one of the it's just like one of the things that comes with social media use, unfortunately, is you're so used to pouring your emotions or whatever your immediate thoughts on that you don't really have a filter or the self-control to keep it to yourself. Otherwise, I even have that problem here and there, and that's probably why I keep hemorrhaging followers every time I call gamers GAY mers, homo gamers, um
There's
but like
actually, do you know that there's a magazine called with the name that you just said?
yeah, and I use that word specifically for, like, idiots in the gaming like, discourse. That's it.
I
I
always,
I yeah.
I went to a special panel of that magazine with the way you spell the word.
Mhm.
I went to, like I went undercover to a panel.
And?
It was very wacky. I actually filmed stuff. I filmed me inside there, and I keep toying with the idea of releasing a video about it. I went to New York Comic Con and they had a panel, and I
Mhm.
went there, and it was a really bizarre experience. And then I wanted to do a video, but I was so busy and I never got around to it. And then I was just like, it's too late. But I'm toying with the idea of doing like a video of showing me at a GAYM whatever panel, which is very strange.
Do it. Do it. Smilex, he says, "I'm a bit concerned about the next GTA game. Hope it's not full of poopery." Smy, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna put like a knife in your back right now, as much as I adore you. The people that made Rockstar are not there anymore. And
Most of the
also,
companies, most
yeah,
companies that were good at one point were this kind of small studio that made cool games. Eventually, like some other company bought them, and now it's just some corporate setting.
right. Another thing to note is current Rockstar showed their true colors primarily throughout the Summer of Love. So they shut down all of their servers so people could go and burn down cities across America. They retroactively edited out scenes and dialogue out of GTA 5 with all of the additional releases it had, right? The re releases and whatnot, because it was either transphobic or it was a little too racist or someone complained.
By the
So, and
way,
sorry,
just want to quickly say, Jawsy99 says, "Hey, second time in here. I'm subscribing.
nice.
Great to see you here." Go on, Vex. Sorry.
No, so I would argue I GTA 6 will probably sell very well just given because it's a GTA game, but I didn't think GTA 5 was very good. I'm going to be honest. Like I grew up playing the other ones cuz my brother always had them, so I'd play GTA 2 and 3 and Vice City San Andreas is my favorite one out of the series, but GTA 5 really was not it at all. I it was very much people that had played 4 got into the series and then thought 5 was the tits. It was I when you compare it to the rest of the franchise. But GTA 6, I don't think it'll be that great. I think you'll come to see that they've probably have like they've pulled the reins a little much. That's my prediction.
Somebody is asking if I use dark. Are they? Do they mean like dark mode? Is that what they're trying to say?
Yeah, bro, why is your Twitter white? Like I get that like it's a white supremacy thing and whatnot, but this is blinding me.
No, no. I'll tell you what. On my phone, it's actually dark mode, and on my
Okay.
desktop, it's white mode. I don't really know why. I mean, I guess I could change it.
This is for crazy people, man. But yeah, that's what's going on with the Avowed stuff. Like it's quite disappointing because I think that game had potential. Now that potential is because it's not even just that it's Matt Hansen alone, it's that everyone else behind the scenes is piling onto it. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
Where do I find the dark mode thing? I know that's a silly thing to say, like on the desktop. Do you know where I find it?
It'll be under settings. Hold on, where are settings? Settings and privacy.
Yeah, that's what I looked
Your
at, but then
account. Account information, privacy and safety.
see that's where I'm stuck here. Privacy and safety.
Oh,
That's
accessibility, display, and languages.
okay.
And then go to the display tab.
Okay, yeah. So I'll go with there's dim and lights out. I'll go with dim. Is dim okay?
There's a dark selection at the bottom too.
Like lights out?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go full on lights out. Should I
I don't know.
change it?
If you want to, it's really up to you. But like just on a final note with the Avowed stuff, and I keep saying this to people because I'm so fucking sick. Sorry, Sean. I am so absolutely sick of where gaming discourse is right now because all of these fucking dumbass grifters, sorry, Sean, are focusing on things that ultimately don't really matter about gaming. I don't care about Dragon Age Veilguard. Nobody cared, according to the sales either. Nobody cares about hearing about Assassin's Creed Shadows anymore. No one's going to care about like Star Wars Outlaws. Start putting your focus onto the parts of the industry that actually matter. I keep an eye on where all of the veterans have gone because over the last 5 years in particular, there has been a mass exodus of veteran developers that established all of these AAA studios that have left to go start their own studios. And the first one that really kind of like came out was the Callisto Protocol from the Dead Space guy. I can't remember his name. That game fucking sucked, by the way. Don't buy the Callisto Protocol. It's a piece of shit. But Ken Levine, the guy behind the BioShock series, he's off at his own studio. I think his game will be the mark of what the future of the industry will be like. That's my 2 cents.
Interesting.
I am sick about hearing about harping over, gay people and pronouns. Bro, the gaming industry was literally built by a bunch of fucking pussies, sorry, Sean, that couldn't get pussy in high school and were perpetual losers until they were able to put some code into a computer and made $1 million game out of it. This is literally an industry built off the backs of like baby back bitches, man. Really. Like, you really are surprised that it has bended the way it has? Look at gamers as a collective, bro. There is an entire, what's the word I'm looking for? Stereotype that follows all of you for a reason. It's because 98% of you are like that. You smell, you're overweight, and you probably wear the same t-shirt 4 days of the week. So it should be no surprise that gaming is full of a bunch of, like, fucking snowflakes. Sorry, Sean. Look forward. Stop harping on stuff that doesn't matter. You're not making a difference.
It's funny that you're apologizing to Sean even though he's not even here.
I'm sorry, someone said it in the chat, and now I have to.
No, it is. Usually what happens is like I think what happens is we use the curse and then apologize to Dread. And then I don't know why somehow Sean became the person we apologize to, even though I don't even know if he cares. And now when he's not even here, we apologize to him. So
There you go. You're welcome, Sean.
you're welcome, Sean. Sean is the person we have to apologize to. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that it's the same thing that I was trying to tell you with Wicked. I don't
Mhm.
like rolling over anymore. I don't like they're like, "Oh, well, why don't you leave it alone? It's just a thing for women." No, like I don't want to roll over anymore. I don't like that every single thing people take and make it some crappy deconstructed weird agenda thing. So I think people are a little more sensitive to it. And when you play a
Well,
game, a video game, and it does try to kind of force you into writing pronouns and things like that, if in fact it does something like that, I can understand why people would get annoyed with it. I think that if it was just the pronouns, but the games were kick ass, I don't think people would say anything. But you've seen how they keep now, designing women to make them look bad, like in Outlaws, where they took a female model that actually looked fine and they try to make her look bad. It's strange that every woman they go out of their way to make her not look good. It's really annoying.
it's not strange. There's an ideology behind it. But I don't even care about that. I'm going to be honest. I really don't. The reason I don't is because you're harping on a superficial aspect of studios that are already in their declining era. These are already developers and creators that haven't been putting out anything good for almost a decade at this
But they
point.
still want people's money. They still want people to spend money on their
And you
product.
know what? Because gamers are actually stupid, they will still go and buy it. So case in point, because I really hate that people are like, oh, we don't want pronouns in their games. But the best, like two of the best selling games of the last year, both had pronoun issues and they propped it up. Hogwarts Legacy, it forced they them pronouns onto you because it wanted to appease the snowflake audience. And Boulder's Gate also allowed for the pronoun stuff and let you explore like peak sexual degeneracy. But the anti woke gaming crowd propped both of those up. There is no consistency in what these people actually want, and it shouldn't be a surprise that nobody is actually listening to you. You've been complaining for 10 years now, and nothing has happened. Games have gotten shittier, More studios have been consolidated under big publishers. Creativity is basically gone in AAA now, and all you're focusing on is tits. It took me 6 months to figure out what the fuck, sorry, Sean, Stellar Blade was about. Because all I heard is that I need to support this game because tits. And then all the clips I saw were just people ogling tits. Not even real tits. Again, adding credence that you're all a bunch of losers that can't get any. Seriously, you like this movement is so hyper focused on things that don't matter. You're kicking the dent-headed kid while he's already down. It's pointless, bro.
I don't
It's
know. I still think
pointless.
that there's thing for example, like I told you that one of the only games, or probably the only game I played this year was Wukong, and I'll say that there seemed to be, as this game was doing well, a lot of kind of push from the mainstream media to minimize this game. A lot of those kind of quote unquote gaming journalists go out of their way to kind of speak negatively about it, to play it down. And I did see
Bro,
stuff like that. There's a lot
that
of dishonesty when it comes to these kind of journalists.
here's the thing again. Game no one has taken gaming journalists seriously since at the very least when COVID started. So our again, this is another thing, and this is why the whole Alyssa Mercante thing needs to disappear. Like a woman normally does, she is using all of you for clout, and it's basically funding a Patreon for her. It's funding a new financial venture for her now.
Well,
Now
she's
she's
not
going.
even working for Kotaku anymore. I guess they parted ways with her.
They have, and we all knew that was going to happen the second she opened her ugly, skanky mouth back in February. It was coming. She doesn't look good for the optics of an already dying publication, right? But no
Right.
one has taken game journalists serious for a very long time. So again, you're poking at it's like poking at a carcass at this point. It's dead, it's rotting, it's gone. Nobody really cares. Like actual gamers, people that are actually paying attention and playing games on the regular have already seen this and have moved on.
You know, anytime I saw Stellar Blade, though, it looked like there was a nice Asian woman doing stuff.
Sorry, my cat is bugging me. Why are you bugging me? Why are you bugging me? Do you hear the meowing? I'm sorry.
I do. I like cats, though. But
I,
regardless,
he
anytime
thinks I'm upset. That's why. Like, I can't talk to people. If I even talk on the phone, he'll come and start meowing while I'm on the phone. Like, it's okay. I'm not upset. I'm not upset.
Professor R2 says Mercante is done. She's going back to selling her body, allegedly. He meant allegedly. There was that's probably a word that he forgot to say, but that's the
There you go.
position of.
I'm just like I just don't I'm not in it anymore, and it seems like gamers are so sensitive because they don't want to hear this. They just want to be perpetually angry. They just want to be upset at everything. They don't want to realize that what like there's nothing to be upset about anymore. I can understand to an extent if this is your period of waking up to things, but bro, you must be the most casual ass gamer in the world. Sorry, Sean, if you're waking up to this right now. Games have been like on a decline, ideologically or not, for almost 10 years now. Like you have to have picked up a console like 3 years ago to be thinking suddenly, oh my god, why is all of gaming shit?
I mean, I think that as somebody that I consider myself more kind of middle of the road or objective or whatever,
Mhm,
I can see why a lot of this stuff that annoys the people. I could see why it annoys them. I can't just simply dismiss it. You know, I can respect what you're saying that maybe people lean into it too hard, or maybe things are taken a bit too seriously when you zoom out and see the overall state of the gaming industry. But at the
mhm.
same time, you know, there's two modes. Either you don't say anything and you roll over, or you say something. And sometimes saying
Oh,
something is better than saying nothing.
here's the thing. In what I'm saying, I'm not rolling over and accepting anything. Again, this is what I mean. I'm looking forward. I'm watching where the industry is going because that is ultimately what matters. I've already laid out my foundation. I know what I don't want to support. I know what's crappy in gaming. I know what isn't going to catch my interest. And as a consumer, I don't need to be putting any time or energy or money into any of that. So instead, I'm looking forward. Because again, sitting and complaining about things that are already dead and over isn't doing anything. There is proof in the pudding that it is not doing anything. And everyone keeps thinking, "Oh, if we keep talking about it, if we keep shouting about it, something's going to change." What changed? Look at Gamergate 1. What actually came out of Gamergate 1? Games actually got more outwardly political in the more liberal sense, right? You had games media get completely co-opted after Gamergate 1 broke. What came out of Gamergate 2? Absolutely nothing. You had a bunch of YouTubers that had careers launch. Gets more dick riders, which he shouldn't have, because he's a terrible individual to take advice from or follow in any regard. What has happened?
I don't know. I mean, I don't I haven't had bad experiences with them. I think that it's important to have a voice and to say stuff. I don't, you know, it's better to say something than not to say something. I don't know. I
Again,
understand your perspective, but I can't dismiss the work that's being done by people that this is important to them.
what work is being done? I'm being very objective here. Like I'm not trying to get in feels or anything. If you look at where gaming is right now and all of the problems it has, what are any of these voices actually doing that is helping the situation?
I think that maybe if enough, you know, these companies go under, lose money, have games that fail, something will change. And maybe even this 10-year thing that you're saying everything is shit, maybe there will be an improvement. And I think that the type of voices that are complaining now, it's worth something. I myself saw that, you know, I've had issues with that Paul Tassi guy from Forbes
Oh yeah.
that he wrote some article and he was basically there was some game that like people didn't like and it was obviously very kind of woke or whatever it was and it was really I don't know if it wasn't one of those Concord or whatever it is and he's just saying like a million excuses for why he thinks that it didn't succeed and I just wrote some like you know half whatever comment and he was like having meltdowns and blocking me and doing all this shit. It really is annoying all this kind of mainstream media gaslighting from you know more well-known publications like Forbes to these kind of dumpster Kotaku and whatever it is, but and IGN and all those things. But it feels like you want to put these people in their place, and there is a lot of gaslighting going on. And I think that stuff that like Grums and maybe Smash JT and some other people do, I don't think it's bad that they're calling out. And if they're passionate about it and they want to call them out, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, to me at least.
Okay, I actually can agree with you here. If you feel passionate about it and calling it out, I think as like a way of just expressing yourself and having the feeling of being heard, I can agree with you on that.
You
But
know,
I think
I just
no,
know the feeling of, like, even when it's stuff that was super important to me, like, the way I got into all of this was, like, Star Wars and The Last Jedi and all that stuff. I remember that gaslighting feel. I remember the gaslighting for the mainstream media. I remember so many narratives that were pushed on people that didn't like a certain movie, and how until today they continue these tactics. It is so annoying, and really, it causes a person to just sit and think to themselves, like, "I wanna go to war here." Like, I don't like this fake narrative that's being, like, constructed here, and it's annoying. And at the end, look at it. You could say whatever you want. You like Grums, you don't like him. He does all that work at the end. Elon noticed. Now Elon is like tagging Microsoft and is like, "Why are your people acting this way?" If
mhm.
because of what happened, Microsoft somehow go to these people and tell them, "Hey, shut the fuck up." You know what? It is worth something.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. I'm just thinking of what Microsoft will actually do, and it won't
Let's
actually
see.
solve
Let's see.
anything.
Probably they're so stupid that they'll be like, "No, we love it when
Yeah,
our people bash our
because
customers because they're such fucking idiots." So maybe they'll do that, in my
like
opinion.
here's one of the problems
Sorry,
that I
Sean.
find. Sorry, Sean. Yeah. Like here's what because what I notice is that people thinking that complaining about something is going to change something and it doesn't. And one of the things they do is like, oh, if we don't buy the games, then they'll learn. But they don't learn. Why do you think all of these studios are getting bought out? Budgets is one thing because the budget for game production has inflated beyond like reasonable means whatsoever. Like these are worse than Hollywood budgets at this point. So the return needs to be really high. But like you get all of these studios then collapse because nobody's buying their game because one or two people say something. Then they all consolidate under Tencent who just released a copycat of Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if you saw the pictures of that, but they just announced that. or they all fall under Microsoft, who's just sucked the creativity out of every great IP they have, or you have PlayStation, who's literally a staple in modern gaming, and they've pissed it all away to keep remaking the same games over and over and over again. That's what happens when you don't buy games. That's what happens every time you say, "Oh, I hope they fail and I hope you're killing creativity in the industry." Now, at the same time, is there any creativity left? No. So you're killing creativity in an industry that's already on the decline and dying. So in a sense, you're already feeding into a cycle that already exists and you're not making a difference whatsoever. What you can do though is you can go and support into independent developers. You can go and support all of the veterans that are starting like campaigns to fund new games, because that's going to be what is going to build up the industry once again. I would rather support the change that is being done right now than keep complaining about something that is, like, in the past. This is like what women do. You know how women just, like, you do one wrong thing and then they remember it for, like, 30 fucking years, and on your deathbed, they bring it up, and they're like, "Oh my god, you remember that time you didn't hold the door for me? Well, fuck you. Sorry, Sean. You're dead now. Ha ha ha." It's the same thing that's happening right now.
I see Professor R2 is saying, I think the important part people like Grums and Cabrutus are playing is organized action, letting gamers know that they are not alone in their disillusion with the industry. And
Hold
I
on.
accept,
Hold on. Say your piece first.
no, no, I say that I think that he has something here, but I'll let you speak. What do you think?
Okay, Grums is a bundle of sticks. He is not important. First of all, it's still not clear what exactly Grums did while he worked as Blizzard, because everything that he has divulged so far implies that he was a glorified HR manager. This guy also scams people out of money. He flip flops on his objectives. The only thing that he has done in terms of organizing is retweeting other people's finds and deep dives into information so he can gain the clout and fame from it. Grums is not a person you want to be standing behind. He's actually making the conversation so much harder for the people that actually care. He does not actually care. Cabrutus, I actually like Cabrutus. I don't think I think he understands more or less what is happening. I think he's still waking up to it, but the DEI detected thing is a good starting point. That is building something, that is a tool that actually helps gamers. And he's not trying to sell you on cancel this, cancel that, buy this, right? No, he's just saying, here's a tool I've made for you. You can look up what all of these games are. You can make your own decisions. I'm not going to sell you a narrative.
I think that there's room for everybody, and I think that the work that they both do is important, but that's my opinion, and sometimes
That's
we
fair.
don't we
I have a bone to pick with Grums because he truly has ruined the conversation. He really has, because every time you want to say, like, you want to point something out about what is killing gaming, people go to Grums first and they see what Grums posts and they see what Grums does. And
he's very thorough. I mean, he's very
he's
thorough. He's always
not
on.
thorough, bro. He's not thorough. All he does is he takes other people's information and he posts it. I don't know if you remember how the Stellar Blade controversy ended, but it wasn't good. For months he built up a petition, restore or save Stellar Blade or restore Stellar Blade or whatever, to get the outfits uncensored in the game. All that happened is that the developers added a patch in with more outfits. And then he gaslit his followers into thinking that this was the original goal. That wasn't a win whatsoever. This guy scammed people out of almost over $600,000 to build a demo over 8 years. And when people call him out for it or just ask questions about it, he blocks them. He throws them under the bus. He sends his followers after them. He's not the person you want to be aligning behind whatsoever. He
I
can be a
see.
starting point. That's good. If he's your starting point, take it as a starting point, not the only point.
I don't know. I've never had bad interactions with him. I can only speak with my own experiences. I think that sometimes it's important that voices exist. I never invested in any game, and I don't really know anything about that.
Mhm.
So I don't have enough knowledge to comment one way or another. Maybe if I had paid for something and didn't receive it, I'd feel a different way. But I absolutely don't really know. I've heard some things like what you're saying, but I don't really know enough to evaluate it one way
I
or
feel you
another.
do. I feel you. This is my wheelhouse. Like, I don't make gaming content anymore because it's so absolutely frustrating, but I still keep up on it. And it's just very sad to see that a very meaningful conversation and a meaningful like purpose has been diluted by people that don't even know A, why they're upset, B, what they're fighting for, or C, what the actual problems are. So, like, it's like they keep getting upset. Why aren't they listening to us? Why don't they hear us? It's because no one is truly mobilized under this current anti-woke gaming movement. There's no clear vision, there's no clear purpose, there's no clear outcome that you want. Oh, you want to go back to the way gaming was. No one can definitively say what that means. Oh, you want no ideology. Guess what? Some of the best games out there, some of the most iconic games out there were built off of political ideology. They just didn't shove it in your face in the kind of I need you to believe this kind of way. But they can't articulate that at all. So you have a lot of people that they're just kind of getting angry over things that, yes, are justifiably worth getting angry over, but then you're not directing that into anything that is helping to make change or make anything better. We can make fun of the wokies all we want, but let's be real here. A, they're organized, and B, they're actually making shit. That's better than what the anti-woke like gaming movement is doing right now.
Professor R2 has a good comment. He says, I'm not a Grum's booster. He's just been a focal point for a lot of people. I genuinely think that Kabrutus has been doing what he's been doing is much more valuable and important in the long term.
I totally agree with that. I agree with that 100%. That's what I'm saying. Kabrutus, at least he's giving you something you can use to help develop your own opinion and develop your own taste.
You
But
know what?
Grum's is
I'll
just trying to feed an anger cycle. This is what leftists do. Just keep you in a perpetual state of anger so you're emotional and you make bad calls.
I still think, and again, when I see people like Elon Musk responding to stuff he said and that he gets his, these things out there, I think that there's value in what Grums does as well. But I will agree with both of you that the operation and even Kabrutus is the one that really, because of him, this whole Gamergate 2 even erupted, or, he was that initial thing that ignited it. I really like what he does, and he does it in a way that I think is quieter. So like I can respect that, but I also think there's room for everybody, and I don't dismiss what Grums is doing, but that's me personally. But I
That's
can
right.
respect liking what Kabrutus is doing. If we're looking at the positives, I think that doing this kind of DEI detected thing is a positive thing.
That's the only good thing that I can think of that has come out of the Gamergate 2 fiasco. That's the only positive. And even then, like it's not a huge thing and it's not a game changer, nor is it starting off a game changer.
S- Davina Duckworth says we haven't discussed the state of games journalism.
We don't There's nothing to discuss. It's
It's
dead,
like
bro. It's
dead,
been dead
yeah.
for a while. Yeah.
No, but there's still these kind of like charlatans like that, like in my opinion, charlatans like that Paul Tassi from Forbes and
I
whatever.
agree.
There,
Yeah.
there are it annoys me. I mean, some of those other ones nobody takes, I think, Kotaku seriously or some of the other ones, but Forbes is still the name of of like a magazine that somebody may think accidentally is still worth something. And that Paul Tassi guy just, unbelievable that this guy basically pretends to be a real journalist.
Paul Tassi's quite fun. He's enjoyable to watch on Twitter. I can't remember. He had a meltdown over. I want to say it was Atomic Heart. I could be wrong though, but he kept flipping back and forth because I think this is so the Atomic Heart Mundfish. They're based out of Russia. When the Ukraine
Okay.
war like conflict broke out or whatever, everyone was like, "Oh my god, what are you like why aren't you disavowing Russia?" and yada yada yada. And they put out a thing like, "Listen, we don't care about politics. We don't have anything to say about it. It's terrible that there's a conflict happening. We're going to focus on our game." And leftist media completely lost their shit over that. Like just a very neutral response. It was great. It was like that was the definitive thing that sold me on Atomic Heart. I was like, "Oh, they want to focus on making a game, not a message." I'm on board with that, right? But he kept flipping back and forth, I remember, on Twitter about that, and he had a colossal meltdown over 4 days, nonstop tweeting about that. Paul Tassie's great. He's so much fun.
He once had a meltdown because I said something, and then he blocked me, and then I wrote like a tweet. I posted a tweet about how he had a meltdown and blocked me, and I didn't block him, so he was still looking at my tweets, and then he saw what I wrote. So then he wrote me, like he went and answered the thing that I explained that he had a meltdown and blocked me. He posted that he wrote, "I unblocked you because I wanted to tell you that you annoy me," or something like that.
What?
He blocked me, had a meltdown. I wrote about how he had a meltdown and blocked me. So then he unblocked me and went to the same post that I said that he had a meltdown and wrote that the reason he blocked me is because I've been annoying him for some time and I annoyed him again or something like that.
Dang.
It's such a weirdo. I mean, what's wrong with you? I don't even understand this guy. I don't understand how a magazine like Forbes. We were talking about like Alyssa Mercante, and we're thinking like, how does anybody even employ this lady? How does anybody take this guy seriously? I mean, I can't take this guy seriously at all. How is it that like Forbes thinks that this guy is serious? I guess Forbes just doesn't mean anything anymore.
I don't read anything Paul Tassi puts up anymore. I think the only mainstream game journalist I actually still read is Tom Henderson over on what is Tom Henderson on? What is Tom Henderson on?
I don't know.
Maybe he's freelance. I don't know. Insider Gaming. There we go. Because he doesn't bring in politics. He just brings the facts. And then Jez Corden, but he's with Windows Central because I'm an Xbox user, so I just want to keep up with that. Davina, just real quick. Atomic Heart did not make mainstream. You're very right. But it made like $75 million in revenue, which is pretty impressive for a developer's first major release. And on top of that, it's got a legitimate, like, active user base. Like, they're about to release their third DLC. So it wasn't as big of a success as like Boulder's Gate or whatever. But for a new IP, it's doing pretty solid.
I see.
What
Well,
else did we have on the docket? Sorry, I got a little heated there, and I woke up in the process. So thank you.
no, it's okay. It's okay. Actually, it was a good conversation. I feel like we've wanted to have a conversation like this in a long time,
That's
and I
true.
and
I'm very passionate about this, and it's just there's so many dent heads out there that just aren't like they're not looking at this rationally, and they're just so in their feels about everything that they can't see the bigger picture or they can't see all the working parts, and they just end up making assumptions based on the feelings that they're having. You know what I mean? So just like it's frustrating.
this is weird. Wait, hold on one second. I'm probably going to regret even clicking on this article. Hey, are you still there?
I'm still here.
I guess maybe I was clicking on something, but the site seemed to have collapsed.
Oh, okay. Istophobos. Istophobes? Istophebes?
It's the
Phoebes?
Phobos,
Phobos.
yes.
Thank you. Games journalism isn't dead. Mainstream is dead. Just like legacy media, it is moved, and new media games journalism is definitely having an effect on the industry. I agree. I have a Substack where I review games. There you go. Like YouTubers. YouTubers are really like the driving force now. That's the word of mouth that I'm referring to. Because nobody goes and reads IGN or all of these websites anymore because they know it's all swayed. And because they also know once they try the game out, like 9 times out of 10, whatever website is reviewing, like mainstream site is reviewing it, isn't accurate. Or they don't even know how to play the game. If you guys have seen that Cuphead video,
Well, I told you that I test played a game.
you did, and you said it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was actually interesting.
Go
I don't know
on.
when it's going to come out even. I feel like I was probably the wrong person to test their game, but I actually quite enjoyed it. It was fun.
What was it was like a mech warrior thing, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was called.
Hold on, let's see. Mech Because I remember after you told me about that, it had come up in like my YouTube feed. It was a Mech
It w-
Warrior? Is that the series?
Mecha Break.
Mecha Break. There we go.
Yeah, I was like one of the first people to play it.
And what are your thoughts?
I quite enjoy it. It was a 6v6 competitive shooter.
Mhm.
And yeah, I remember I took some pictures even. I don't know what. Basically, you start the game off, and I hope you can choose a character that's not a woman. But if at least they forced me to be a woman, the woman actually looked okay, meaning her body parts were suggested. Her body parts suggested that she was a woman.
I'm sorry, I'm having flashbacks to when we were reviewing Scavenger's Reign.
So her body parts suggested that she was in fact a woman, and then I guess you start playing, and like you go into this. You're this woman, but you go into this robot.
Mhm.
Like you're now in like a robot body of sorts. You know what I'm saying? Like you're now
I get you.
oper-
You're in a Mech Warrior,
right,
basically. Yes.
exactly. So then no, somebody was asking if it was surgery scars. I didn't see it. It looked like she was a woman. I mean, I may have made her hair longer than it is, but aside from the hair length that I was a bit iffy on, she still looked ladylike, relatively speaking. And then she goes off, and like I don't see her anymore. Now I'm in the robot. Okay, so I go around and I'm on this like planet. It looks like there was like a nuclear attack there or something like I don't know what, and I'm like just blowing up a bunch of things and
Mhm.
you know, you have to just walk around this planet, kill things, blow up things, collect things. I don't know what. I did all of that stuff that I needed to do. And then at the end, there was this part that, like, there's this really, really giant kind of robot that I'm battling that's like
Mhm.
a huge, like, robot. But
Mhm.
then there's other people that arrive that, in my opinion, in reality, when you played it, it would be other players playing for real, like other people that are playing would all meet with you and you're going to be battling this big robot. But because this was a demo, they were probably phonies, meaning they weren't really other people playing. I was the only one playing. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I get what you mean. It felt like you're playing with like NPCs.
Yes, I was playing. In reality, I think they won't be NPCs. I think they'll be like it's as if you and me are playing the game and you're one of the people and I'm one of the people. But because it was a demo, I was the woman and then the men were like NPCs or something. Uh,
Gotcha.
so then we were battling this big robot, and I think we destroyed it. It was pretty fun, though. I won't lie to you. It was pretty fun. I don't know, you know, at the point that I played, like nobody was asking me for weird pronouns or doing anything else. It seemed like really just pure escapism and fun. And I had a good opinion about the game,
Mhm.
but that was just me. I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised by it, and I didn't have a negative opinion about it. But who knows by the time they release it what they do with it? So they shove like 70 pronouns and do all these weird agendas. I don't know, but I didn't feel it when I played.
I'm glad I'm
Although it would
glad
have
to hear
been
that.
it would have been nice if I could choose being a dude and not being the woman. That's the only comment I have. But I understand that it was a demo, so I'm just gonna have to let it slide.
Out of curiosity, because like I have encountered one other person like this, do you prefer just not to play games where you're a female protagonist?
No, I didn't say that. I mean, listen, I'm thinking even to my childhood, like, you know, there were games that maybe like let's say you play those kind of Tekken 3 or whatever it is.
Mhm.
There's characters there that are ladies. Sometimes I pick them because it's fun just to see what that character does, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's not like I couldn't do it. Even like I'm thinking of Super Mario. There's been situations. I'm thinking of Super Mario 2 on even on the NES.
Mhm.
Had you know, one of the characters you can play as the princess. It's not like I could never play as a woman, but generally speaking, especially something like that you're in a robot and like you, it seems to be a cool situation. I prefer to be a man. I don't mind if that woman was hanging around. Like if the other people are like women playing alongside me and like all these women are saying hi to me when I'm like blowing stuff up, that seems more organic.
I got you. No, I'm just curious. It's not more of like a "Are you a sexist?" question, just because like I did encounter someone else who's just like, it's not a matter of me like not liking female protagonists. Just like I can't relate to a female protagonist, so I don't like playing as them. And I think that's a totally justified view. So that's why I was just
I
wondering if
understand. Davina
you're kind of
Duckworth
saying
says Miss Pac-Man. You know what? Miss Pac-Man, I played Pac-Man, I played Miss Pac-Man. I mean, yeah, I mean, those are kind of older games, but yeah, I, uh I don't mind. It's not that like I don't have like a no-no rule where it's like a woman I can't play it, but I'm just saying that generally when in some games it's kind of better to be a man, I think, if you're a man.
I yeah, I like if it's one of those like online games where it's like you're supposed to be the characters, like Red Dead Online, for example. Like my cowgirl looked like I tried to make her a hotter version of me, basically, because I was like, oh, I can be a cowboy now, and there's no racism, so it's all good. But like for most games, otherwise, I prefer to play as a man. Like I'm playing Stardew Valley right now. I know that's probably not the greatest masculine example, but I I chose to be a man because I want to fuck bitches and get money. Sorry, Sean. So I want to marry one of the chicks instead. But
It's funny that you should say that because in that gaming panel that I was at, they talked about like there was this one lady that talked about the fact that growing up she liked to play Dragon Age, I guess, and it bothered her that she wanted to hit. She was a woman and she wanted to hit on a woman, but the game wouldn't allow it. So then, like she
mm,
wanted the game to be more inclusive, so as a woman she can hit on other women, and
so you're saying women are a problem in gaming then?
I'm just saying what they were talking about at the panel. I was undercover at a GAYMING panel, and that's what they were talking about. And I was just sitting there thinking, "Wow, this is odd stuff that they're discussing." They said a lot of strange. And then there was one guy who basically told her, "Well, that's why." He said, "Well, that's why I would choose to play with a woman because then as a woman I could go hit on men." And this was some bizarre conversation they were having, and, I just thought to myself, "I can't believe that I'm here at this panel."
I can't believe that these are concerns that they had. Like I just that's never like I've been playing games literally since I was like 4 or 5 because I had an older brother, so he had everything and I would play like whatever he had, right? And never once did it ever feel like when I was having like a romance with a female character that it felt weird or like I felt excluded because it wasn't a boy or anything. Like I was just having fun. Like I didn't care that much. I liked pretending that I was the arbiter in a land far, far away. Like
I honestly wish you would have been with me at New York Comic Con. I feel like I had such an interesting adventure, and it felt like such an adventure that I needed to be with more people there. Like I think even you know what? As I was in Comic Con, I think I DM'd you and I
you
said
did.
that I was really sorry that you weren't hanging out with me at Comic Con. I feel like we would have had so much fun at this. Like, I wish you would have gone with me to that panel. I needed like somebody to sit there with me because it's almost like I can't believe I was sitting there. And the funniest thing, like nobody can appreciate the humor of how out of place I seemed at that panel.
Next year, Price. There you go. I'll
There's nothing because the thing is that I had like I was like I had two layers. One, I myself was like wearing a like a disguise. And at the same time, I also had like the price of like, price of reason puppet situation. And I myself was wearing a disguise. When I sat at that panel, I don't know why, like I've never felt so out of place at like a panel probably in my life. And I feel like the people there that it was like not a full house, so I became very noticeable. I think
mm.
that they were all looking and thinking to themselves, who is this person and what's he doing here?
So you're saying that you didn't look gay enough, essentially.
Okay. So basically, the people at this panel, from what I could tell, and again, this is all it's all a blur to me now. But I think there were like, men dressed like like Elsa from Frozen or something. I don't know what. Like it was like a situation where there certainly was a very certain vibe to the people that were there. Uh, I basically looked like the guy from Darkman. Did you see the movie Darkman?
I didn't. What is that?
Nobody's ever seen it. How can nobody see Darkman? It's a classic.
When
It's
did
a
it come out?
like 1875. No, I'm just kidding. I'm
1875.
just kidding. No, it's like 1989 or something.
Oh,
But I'm saying
1990.
like it's old.
Okay.
I
Hold on.
was just kidding, just saying that it's like a really old movie, and probably like that's why nobody's watched it. But I think it's Sam Raimi
It
in
is.
in an early movie. And here, let me see.
Oh, this has been on my watch list for a while. I have heard of Darkman.
So let me see if I. Oh, where is it? I, okay, I think it's this. Let me share it. I didn't. This is the closest thing that I can say that I looked like at this event. So imagine you're like everybody's dressed like Elsa, and this is me. And I really wish, I really wish you were there because nobody could appreciate the humor of what was going on. It was like a whole comedy show was being put on for me, but I was the only one that got to see it.
This is like it's like the cartoons where a shady figure enters the scene. You were the shady figure. Dressed
And the,
like that.
and one of the people there was really looking at me, and not in like, oh, this guy's cute. Like, I wonder what he's doing after the panel. He was like looking. I think it was she looking at me in like a way of like, who is this person and what are they doing here? Somehow, like I wasn't. I guess my presence wasn't like inviting.
Oh my goodness. If you're dressed like that, no, your presence definitely is not inviting.
The funny thing is that I said to myself, I don't want people to recognize me, and it's not that I wanted to look like Dark Man. It's just I tried to put together some kind of
Hold on.
makeshift disguise, and I
Hold on.
ended up kind of looking like him.
Who's gonna recognize you at a gay gaming convention? Hold on, is there something I'm missing here?
I don't know. Yes, and somebody says with the puppet in his hand. Yes, there was a puppet in the hand in addition to being. Imagine you see this guy and he has a puppet. They looked at me. It was so funny. I really it was unfair that I couldn't share that. But that's what it was. It's the truth. I'm not even lying. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture of it.
Oh my goodness. Never change price.
And you
I
didn't
hope
want to
no one
join
will
me.
recognize me, walks in like Rorschach.
You didn't want to join me. And really, you probably are the only person that like, got a text from like an actual DM from me while I was there.
Oh. I'm not in the US yet, so I wouldn't have been able to make it anyways. There you
I
go.
understand.
Yeah.
You should come to the US at some point.
There is a plan in place. So maybe next year I can attend that convention. Let's just leave it at that.
I hope that works.
Mhm. Mhm.
That would be nice. Now let me see if I can find a picture. Uh
I'm trying to did we even talk about the AI studio that Elon wants? We went on a tangent.
oh, he said that he wanted to build an AI gaming something.
Mhm. Mhm. What are your thoughts on that?
Uh I don't know. I mean, the thing is, the idea, like, on one hand, it sounds something positive. I mean, he was basically explaining that making games can be complicated, and with AI, it can help with 3D models and different things like that. The question is if something like that would compromise the quality of the games, or it's really an important tool that would help.
So AI is already being used to an extent to make games anyways, so there's not really a problem there. It's that he explicitly said it will be an AI gaming studio, which just it like as it stands right now and at least what I'm aware of and what is out for public use and consumption and all that stuff, like AI is not very human at the moment. Like it's obvious when something is written or created or sung by I don't think that's the greatest idea because then you're also cutting out a whole part of like you're cutting out creativity essentially. It's a way of killing an art form. It also is kind of like funny that he says like, "Oh, there's too many big companies like holding on to gaming companies, so I with a big company am going to make a gaming company." It was just the irony of it all, right? I don't think a fully AI developer is a good idea though. No.
You don't think it's a good idea?
I don't think it's a good idea. But,
So
the other thing too, because like, again, this is just an idea he's thrown out there, who knows if he'll go through it, but I guess it also depends on the type of game he's looking to make, so, like, for something like maybe, like, a dinky mobile game like Candy Crush or whatever, I can see you being an AI developer for stuff like that, but if we're talking, like, something full scale with an immersive story or something like that, inevitably, you'll get AI to help, like, render elements and whatnot, but to fully create it, no, you can't do it. You still need people. You still need people to craft like the reason like open world games work the way they do so well is because there's a very carefully crafted story that works throughout every like level of the game, and I don't think an AI could replicate that as strongly.
so this is actually the panel that I was at. This was the gaming panel.
Okay,
Uh,
so your finger puppet is there, I see. Um
yes.
who is this like girl trying to be a white person over here? Like what is she in?
Which one are you talking about?
This black girl in white
Well,
face.
that's what I was saying, that the people was that a girl even? I wasn't even sure. They were wearing strange outfits, and
Well,
I don't
she's got a black woman's behind, I can see, so I'm gonna assume that this is a woman.
well, guess we can close the file on that one.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. So have really no idea, but these people that you see sitting here, they were the ones that were kind of part of the either game devs considered or part of the industry, and they were the ones talking about all the inclusivity, like, in the industry and stuff like that, and man, it really felt like I was in some kind of delusional therapy session. Like, that's the only way I can say it, like, I thought that these people were delusional. You say that, like, people, "Oh, you can make such a big deal online with people and companies and whatever," but when I sat at this panel and I saw these, like, delusional people, I thought to myself, "Wow, there really is a problem."
Wow. Do you have more pictures of them? Of the
I
people, I mean.
actually, to be honest with you, I actually have video from this panel, and, since then, I've hesitated. First of all, I was busy, and I didn't have time to go through what I got, and
Mhm.
I was running out of space, so I was trying to find space and, like, filming all these random things, and I was thinking to myself of, like, releasing a video and showing what I saw there, but then I was sort of hesitant about it, but, yeah, very interesting stuff in any case. Maybe I'll do it. People are trying to encourage me and saying I should do it. Maybe I should.
Did you, slide a credit card through the fat on that guy's head at all?
This thing here?
This Do you see this fat guy's head right here?
This thing?
Yeah, did you slide a credit card through those fat rolls?
No, I didn't. Why?
Oh.
What maybe I was hoping it reads chips.
I had the first guy I ever dated, he was overweight, and, I he had rolls on the back of his neck. So one time I had just like I had a card in hand and I just swiped it across the fat roll.
Was he offended?
He was offended. I
Oh,
couldn't
good
help myself.
stuff.
I couldn't help myself. But now every time I see it, I just like, you just want to like credit declined.
So, yeah, and this is the guy that was saying, did you see that I zoomed in? This
Yep.
is the guy here that said that he played as women on Dragon Age so he can hit on men or something like that. Uh,
What?
this guy here, the guy that's kind of in the middle
He
of the
played
picture.
on Dragon Age as a woman so he could hit on men?
I thought that's what was being said. Man, there was so much nonsense being spoken here. It was like an overload of nonsense for me. I feel like that's what he said. Now I don't know anymore, but I
This
think that's what
makes
was said.
this makes me feel like giving like customizable options in games was a mistake. Like, honestly, you're
Right,
basically
they
like
they
LARPing as
made the
your
case
character.
for, like, anybody that ever thought to themselves, "Are you making, like, a big deal, like, with all this, like, pronoun stuff?" Like, after this thing, I'm like, "No, I think we should probably, like, gotta really make a big deal of the pronoun." And not only that, they were like, "Dragon Age, it's so great how inclusive it is now. It doesn't matter of the body type, you can do different body types." Like, all the stuff that people are criticizing that we think is really dumb, they're, like, celebrating like it's the best thing that ever happened. And,
Makes
like,
sense.
totally detached. The part that really bothered me was is that I felt they were very detached from anything that's happening in the industry. They're saying like it's a tough time in the industry. A lot of people are being laid off. It's not easy to do this, not easy to do that. And then they're like, oh, it's so important. We have to put like trans in all the games. It's like, are you listening to yourselves? You're saying that the game industry is crumbling. People are losing our jobs. There's like an issue. And all you're thinking is, how do we shove like this propaganda that's so important to us into the game? And at the end, there was a part where they said that they would take questions, but because they babbled for so long, there was so little room to ask questions. I actually raised my hand and I wanted to tell them that I think that they're delusional. But they looked at me and they saw that I looked like Darkman and had like a puppet, and they didn't call on me. They like looked at somebody else and they said, "Well, we have time for one more. That person over there," and like they ignored me.
Everyone on all sides seems to not be focusing on the issues in gaming. There you go. People making games are doing this BS, and the people complaining about games are just complaining about other BS. It's
Please be careful at these conventions. Price of Reason. There's some real weirdos out there. Price of Reason Live. That's Tim Hayes. Trust me, I was in that room. I thought that there were some weird people there. And also the funniest thing is, even at a convention that there's like so many thousands of people, they couldn't fill a room with their stupid nonsense. You know what I mean? It was a gaming panel, and there's not enough people to even fill that room. At the end, it was like a few weirdos and me, which I'm probably a weirdo too. But it's like
judging by how you were dressed.
it was like a few weirdos that are enthusiastic about this, and like a dark man looking person holding a puppet. That maybe I looked weird too. I'm not gonna lie.
100% you probably did. I respect you more for it though.
Uh, if only you would have joined me. Like that would have been a fun day.
I actually would have been very curious to see excuse me, the see how that panel went, cuz like I've been to like conventions for like I used to go to the Supernatural conventions for like the show when those were still running, and man, there's some really like weird things that a predominantly female audience will come up with. So I would have been interested.
I
Would have
think
been
I think
interested.
we would have had a blast. I
Mhm.
think it wasn't fair that only I got to witness this myself. It was like seeing the Loch Ness monster or something and being alone while watching it.
What else do we have on the docket?
Really, honestly, there isn't too much. I mean, it's a holiday. There was something that I thought I saw that was interesting, but then I just the thing disappeared.
Gotcha.
Let me see if I can find it. Was there protests today at a Macy's thing?
I have no idea.
Oh, they interrupted it with the Middle East thing.
Pro Palestine thing?
Yeah, I guess their thing is that anytime they see people like having fun, they have to come and like annoy people.
Sounds pretty accurate to what they usually do, yeah.
uh, all right. Well, yeah, I don't know. Have really nothing to say about that. I just all I know is that sometimes people that are driving from one place to the other or whatever and like blocking roads and doing stuff like that. I don't think that that helps anybody.
I agree. Like
It's one
I have nothing
It's
to
one
say
thing if
about
there's a certain place that's like a park that you go to when you're doing like a protest or whatever, but like saying like, "Oh, these people are like trying to drive through this street. Let's just ruin their entire day and stand here." It's like, the people that are driving here trying to get to work, they're not going to be able to help like whatever it is, and it doesn't even matter if it's this cause or another one. Whatever your cause is, they're probably not going to be able to do anything for you.
I'm just saying if anyone was ever making a road protest over some stupid BS like that, I'm just saying I might forget how to brake. That's all.
I understand, but at the end, if you did that, you would be the one that's in trouble. Nobody would say like, "Oh, like we're ma'am, like we really appreciate what you've done here." Like everybody would be like, you would
You
be the
put
one that's.
yourself but they have put themselves in a dangerous situation, so they have to know the risks of that. I'm just
You
saying.
you say that, but at the end, you know how these things work. At the end, you're gonna be the bad guy.
We'll see what happens.
I
I'm not
now I
going to
hope that you
say
don't run.
anymore.
Well, I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you, so I hope you don't run into these weirdos protesting. But You should be careful because nothing is worth you, getting in
Honestly,
trouble.
it's too cold for these kind of people to actually do this in the streets here, like, now that it's November, so and, like, the only place that this stuff actually happens is in the big cities like Vancouver or Toronto where you can't drive anyways. So, it is what it is. I did see that there were apparently, mysterious lights over Washington, DC. I did see that earlier today.
What happened?
Like, there are apparently, like, UFO lights over the White House.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
What do you mean? What do I mean?
Why are there UFO lights over the
Hold on. Let me find this. Let me find this, and I'll send it to you on Twitter here. Copy. Because this caught my eye. I was just like, oh, interesting how this happens on a U.S. national holiday. Oh,
what is it? Can you share it?
oh, I'll just send you
Oh, send me the link. Okay,
the
let's
link,
do
and
it.
you can pull it up. Yeah, it's in your Twitter DMs.
Okay. Okay, I'm sharing it, and now it's like dark mode. There's a community notes on it, so hopefully it means that there aren't aliens. And okay, so
Oh,
UFO lights over Capitol sparking panic in DC. Do you think it's aliens? And
okay.
then somebody wrote, reader to add context they thought people might want to know. The lights at the U.S. Capitol building have been causing UFO sighting in the camera lens for decades and decades. Just lens flares, new photo, same lens flare phenomena.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
Why is there lens flare though? It seems like a lot of flare, but okay.
That's very specific flair as well.
Right. I mean, that makes me now question this whole community note thing. It
You
does
can
look weird.
zoom in on it too. That's not how lens flare works.
Right. Let's see if I can. Okay, sorry. I meant.
You're good.
Okay, let's see. It does look fishy. I mean, I don't know. They say it's lens flare. It looks just like lights to me, and I don't know what the lights are.
That's not lens flare. Oh,
Doesn't
good.
look like lens flare to me either.
No.
That is strange.
Maybe it's just those you know how they do like the droid shows now with the drones? Like you can do the drone light shows. Maybe it's like part of that. Okay, so Marks 47 says just drones, but it seems lately they're using different frequencies, so the gadgets we have to knock the controllers out haven't been working. Interesting.
So basically, you have this stupid Moana movie. I've never seen Moana 1. Have you seen Moana?
Nope, didn't. I think that came out in what, 2012, Moana?
I don't even remember. I think that it was like obvious that it's not for me and I don't care, and I just never watched the first one.
There
And
you go,
then when this
2016. It was past my childhood era of watching these films, so I just
listen, maybe
never
if it came
bothered.
out in like 2000, 2020 or 2021, maybe I would have suddenly done a movie review about it because I was just exploring the kind of messaging that Disney has. Like
Mhm,
when Wish came out, I went to see it and I did a review about it. And I actually think my review was very informative in the terms of like whatever messaging they had in that movie, which was like bonkers.
mhm.
So sometimes if I'm in the right mood, I'd go see it. But when I saw that Moana 2 came out and I never saw the first one, I'm just, I mean, to now watch the first one so that I understand the second one, it's really asking a lot of me. I looked at the picture of it. I saw some little girl like jumping up in the air or something, and I'm just like, fuck it.
I don't think
Sorry,
I've
Sean.
seen I haven't even seen any of the Frozen movies, in all honesty.
I think that I saw the first Frozen, not like in the theater. I think that at the end, one time it came on TV or something like that. And I'm just like, everybody always talks about this. For a pop culture reference, I want to know what this is. I
Mhm.
think I watched it and it was some dumb crap. There's some ice princess, and then she has another sister or something. I don't remember now.
I know that because all the girls that I've worked with, because I work with children, so they all love Frozen and they love Elsa and still haven't seen it.
Yeah, you're not missing much. I remember watching it and thinking really that it's dumb and stupid and that I didn't like it. But I just wanted that kind of pop culture, like I said, reference. And at the end, I can't. I sort of my mind blocked it out. I thought there were a few sisters there, and I don't remember much of anything else. And they had the annoying songs like "Let It Go" or whatever it is. And yeah, I mean, sometimes there's like a pop culture phenomena, and it turns out that that phenomena is actually shit. But people like what they like, and I can't take that away from them.
Speaking of shit phenomenons, you know it's a phenomenon that happened that I don't see mentioned by anyone that actually liked it anymore?
What is it?
Barbie.
Again, it was very much like a thing of its moment. I saw that movie and I thought that it was a piece of crap, but there's enough women that grew up playing with Barbies, and it's just like they're just on autopilot. They went. Margot Robbie looked nice in it. There was pink colors. She was wearing pink, and they're like, it's Barbie, and it made over $1 billion. And yeah, it doesn't surprise me that nobody gives a shit about it now. It was a nothing movie. It was forget about the messaging. It just wasn't a good movie to begin with. Everybody was so thrilled. Oh, it's a female director. Look what she did. Yeah, she made a piece of shit. It's literal shit. That's what she made.
Yeah, I thought that it would have, because people were so like impressed with it and it made so much money. I thought that it would have a bigger cultural impact, but aside from a few meme templates, I don't see anyone that liked that movie still talking about it. By the way, the UFO thing, there's more that were spotted in the UK. I sent you the link.
Oh, okay. Let's look at that. Here at Price of Reason Studios, we take UFO sightings very seriously.
Oh, R2 says Tangled is good. My daughter likes that one. I'll check that. That's the Rapunzel one, so I wouldn't mind checking that out. Davina, I finally saw Shrek. It was okay. Shrek 2 was meh. I did not finish it. I'm actually surprised that you said Shrek was okay, but that's also very much a product of its time. So I guess watching it for the first time now, I could understand. Shrek 2 is, you know what? I think the great thing about Shrek is it managed to do that fine line between kids will enjoy this and adults will get all of our references. So like in the second one, there's a Bronco. There's a chase that Shrek gets involved in when he turns into a human, and he's driving, or he's riding a white horse, a white Bronco, and the way that the scene plays out, it's one for one a recreation of O.J. Simpson's highway
Yeah,
chase.
that's pretty funny. I
That
listen.
was great.
There were things going on. I think that Shrek 1 sort of laid the groundwork, and I think that probably Shrek 2 went the next level when it came to
Mhm.
these kind of amusing the adults and the kids. I
Yeah.
feel like maybe it peaked in the second one. Like the first one laid the groundwork, the second one is where it sort of peaked. The third one already was like wobbling, and I'm trying to think if I ever was there a fourth one. I can't even remember.
There was, because there's a fifth one coming out next year.
Then I think that I'm trying to think how far I got. First and second one, I remember I saw it and I thought it was kind of cool. Again, not my favorite thing ever, but relatively speaking, for those kind of, like you said,
It's fun.
uh, kind of wholesome kids thing, but adults can enjoy it. I agree with you that those few first movies did that.
Mhm.
But
I
but
don't I don't think I saw 3 in all honesty. I haven't seen any of the Puss in Boots movies.
3, I think, had Justin Timberlake voicing some weird prince who was like a pushover, like, I don't really remember, something like that. I think that 3, you had this feeling like you get through it and you think to yourself, "Maybe it's time to wrap this thing up." You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, sometimes you see a movie and you think, "That's it. I think whatever they had to say, they said it, and now it's time to go home." And then they're like, "What about Shrek 4?" And that's, I guess, when I kind of
Clocked
I
out.
yeah, unboarded the train or whatever you wanna call it.
This light kinda looks like a meteor maybe.
Could be. I anything is possible really in our day and age, who knows? But, yeah.
I'm trying to think of what, like, the last 3D animated, like, movie I genuinely enjoyed. Oh, yeah, oh, what am I talking about? Despicable Me, I love those movies.
I think that maybe I saw Despicable Me 1, and that was it for me.
Okay, okay, okay. Let me run you down because I'm a hardcore fan, okay?
Okay, okay.
Despicable Me 1, great. Despicable Me 2, great. Despicable Me 3, Not great, but still good. Despicable Me 4, meh. Rise of Gru, great. Minions, great. I have to say, like, for an IP that is so new, it manages to actually maintain quality pretty consistently. There's absolutely no messaging in the Despicable Me movies as well. It's just good, silly fun. And it does the same thing that Shrek does, where it's like it's humor that kids will enjoy, but there's jokes that adults will get and also enjoy kind of deal. I don't
I
know. My
see.
my husband thinks I'm weird. I've got a Minions shirt and everything, so I like
I
the
mean,
movie.
if you like it, you like it. I remember seeing the first one and thought it was all right, but I guess it didn't really make me want to.
Resonate or hit with you.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I get
know.
you.
I don't know why. It just didn't. It didn't speak to me really. But it's okay. I mean, I'm people like different things, and if somebody sees something that they get that excited over, I'm happy that they have that feeling. You
Mhm.
know, even if it's people that, let's say, enjoyed Wicked, which I thought was shit. I mean, I can't take that away from people. If you watched it, you think it's great. Who am I? Who am I to ruin that feeling for somebody?
No, that's fair. You can put your opinion out, and it's just an opinion. That's all it
Exactly.
is. Yeah.
Although I like Despicable Me more than I liked Wicked. Let's just make that
I mean,
clear.
I would hope so. Like, Despicable Me is pretty
No,
awesome.
I mean Despicable Me, I just thought it was pretty good, but like I didn't go out of my way. Like Wicked was like I thought it was torture to watch it.
Dang. I'm gonna be honest, there's not like I haven't been to the theater since oh my god, what came out recently that I went to go see in the theater?
Professor R2 is unreasonably excited for the new Wallace and Gromit.
I still need to watch those movies. I've heard very good things. I would like to watch them. And apparently the newest one is getting great reviews so far.
What's Flushed Away? Davina Duckworth says I saw Flushed Away. It was
That
no
is like same thing 3D animated. It's something to do with a fish and a toilet on the
toilet.
poster. I
That's
haven't seen it.
this doesn't. This is not a good premise in my opinion.
That's just the poster. I don't know what the premise is.
Rob Nutskuba said he got all 4 movies on Blu-ray, he needs to see 4, I guess that's Despicable Me.
Yeah, 4 is just okay. That's my opinion cuz like I liked that all of the other Despicable Me movies, it has like this very pro family message and like caring for your family and caring for others, and then 4 it's just like it's kind of muddied like who the villain is and what the purpose of the story is. It's still enjoyable. I went and saw it in theaters, but I don't know. It's a step down for me personally.
I understand.
Mhm.
Maybe I should go see a movie since it's Thanksgiving or something like that. I have, like, a thing where I can see many movies a month.
There you go. Go see a movie, bro.
But is there anything to even watch? I mean, I don't wanna watch Moana. Well, I don't think I wanna watch Venom 3, like, I don't have any patience.
Oh yeah, I went to go see Venom 3. That was
It
terrible.
was terrible. I was
Yeah.
considering it, and I'm like, "Ugh," like, I barely even remember what happened in Venom 2. Just so you know that I have a pretty decent memory. If there's a movie and I say, "Hey, I don't really remember much of what happened there," that means I must have really not liked it. Like, it has to be a movie that really doesn't sell me anything interesting, that really bores me if, like, I can't even remember what was in it, and Venom 2, I struggle to remember what happened in that movie.
I actually had the same problem and I rewatched the Venom movies before going to see Venom 3 because I was planning to review it and then I was just like, this is literally too dumb to review. I can't review this. So I didn't, but it's just yeah, I couldn't remember them either. There's a reason I didn't remember them. Let's just leave
Right.
it
I
at
mean, I actually pretty much remembered the first one, generally remembered that one.
that.
And
Mhm.
the second one, I was really trying to put together bits and pieces in my mind, but whatever plot the second one had must have been like even much dumber and nonsensical than the first one, which is
Mm.
why like I couldn't piece together in my memory. I had like little flashes, but I couldn't piece together like a coherent narrative in my head for the second one. Very rare for me.
Dang. Okay.
And to
Well,
rewatch it, that I mean, it means, like, I it seems, like, to be so forgettable, yet now I would have to watch it again in order to watch the 3rd one. It was really asking a lot of me.
okay, so yeah, Moana 2 came out.
That's probably gonna do well. That's probably gonna make a lot of money. Families are gonna go see Moana and whatever it is, like, it's gonna do well.
There's a movie called Queer that you can watch if you want.
Is that the one with Daniel Craig?
That is, yep.
No, I'll never watch it. That's the director Luca Guadagnino,
Yeah.
which now they wanted him to do something like, oh, and him and Daniel Craig want to do like a movie for DC. No, thank you. No, thank you. Please don't do that movie for DC Comics. Please don't do it. I don't know what it is that they wanted to do. Don't do it. Luca Guadagnino, whatever his name is, he made that movie Challengers with Zendaya, which I did a review
Oh.
for, and I saw that movie, and I think that Luca Guadagnino is an overrated, artsy fartsy, crappy director, in my opinion. And
Mhm.
anything that's fun or franchise or whatever, I would steer clear of him.
Oh, you know what? Okay, so there's nothing interesting this week, but next week, Night Bitch comes out.
Remind me, that's a horror movie. What is that?
It's like a comedy horror movie. Amy Adams, she's a stay-at-home mom, and she suddenly starts turning into a dog.
This sounds very weird. The only thing that has captured my attention is that Amy Adams is a really good actress, and I would hope that if she took this role, there's something here that's interesting because I do like Amy Adams. That's
I quite like Amy Adams as well. I would recommend you watch the trailer though, because it's got weird feminist vibes to it.
oh, okay, never mind.
Like
I'll
super weird
I'll
feminist
send you as our official delegation the price of reason delegation. Like you can go to see this weird dog lady movie and tell me.
If I have to, I got it. Oh, Craven the Hunter. I'm actually looking forward to that on
You
December.
know, I'm not looking forward to it, but I'll probably watch it. Whatever happened? Another question I have for you. Whatever happened to that movie with Rachel Ziegler that it's like Y2K? Did that already come out, that stinker?
No, it's coming out. Hold on, I see it on the release. It's coming out next Friday.
It is?
Mhm.
That one is one maybe I should review that one.
Maybe. I think you should review Night Bitch instead. I think that would be the more interesting
Maybe
one.
I'll review Night Bitch as well. But the Rachel Ziegler one, uh I just like it'll, you know what? It'll comfort me if like if movies she's in don't do well. I know
Mm.
that you say, "Oh, that's really mean of you that you would say such a thing." But
No, not at all.
but you know what? I think that she's behaved so poorly, and really, I don't think she deserves. Some people like you know, they can only dream of walking around getting millions of dollars for these type of roles, and they could just be a little nicer about it and a less mean spirited and more humble, and not act like jerks all the time. And I think that she's done it too many times and done it too excessively. And at the end, she's a grown ass person. If that's what she asks, then acts and I don't have to be rooting for her movies to succeed.
That's fair. I get what you're coming from. I don't know. I feel somewhat empathetic towards Rachel Ziegler, if I'm honest. Like, I feel like she's got a publicist or like an echo chamber of people around her that are just like, "Oh, this is the best thing to say and you're doing it right and like keep doing what you're doing." And they're feeding her the wrong information, and she's young, she's impressionable, she's a
I am with
privileged
you.
kid, so she doesn't know any better.
I'll
But
tell you
like
what. I'll tell you
okay.
what. You're going to be surprised to hear what I have to say now. I agree with you to an extent, and I'll tell you that for a while, I actually, from time to time, if somebody said something, I would say what you just said. I would
Mhm.
say that there's a part of me that thinks she's a stupid young lady that doesn't know how to behave. And instead of some people around her giving her some tough love, like her family, and telling her, listen, you are acting like a stupid bitch. You're making a ton of money. You're making a fool of yourself. Shut the fuck up, or you won't be able to work anywhere. And
Sorry,
instead of
Sean.
somebody saying that to her, they say, "Oh, you're so great, you're so stunning and brave, Rachel. Why don't you talk about politics or whatever it is?" And she continues to do it. Still, at some point, though, you have to acknowledge she's not 16 anymore. She's not a minor. She is a grown ass adult at this point, and she is not learning that lesson.
Hold
And
on. How old is she?
I feel like over the past maybe 6 months, I've started shifting from, you know what, maybe she has the wrong people around her to, you know what, she's really just overdue. Like at some point, there's no more excuses. You can't be that stupid the way she is. Do you get what I mean? Like I was in your corner, like whatever you're saying in your camp, and I can't look at her that way anymore. Like my sympathy towards her has ended.
I totally get where you're coming from. I even agree with your point of view. I think so she's 23 years old. I think that the as a woman, believe it or not, I'm just thinking of like when I was her age, and yeah, I did some pretty stupid shit too. And I had people that were telling me like, "Oh, it's good," and like female power, and like you go girl, and all this stuff, right? But that's why like I can almost excuse it. If she were a woman in her 30s, I would just be like, "No, you're a grown person." But like this is literally a chick that's been sheltered her entire life. She's from a privileged household. She was picked out by Steven Spielberg when she was like 16. Like her entire identity has basically been fabricated by the lifestyle she lives and the people around her rather than her becoming her own person. So it makes sense that she would do stupid shit. Sorry, Sean. And it's because she has the wrong people around her and she's just going to get worse and worse as she gets older as a result. So I think that's the way that I see. I'm not going to support any of her films. I don't think she's particularly talented. I don't think anything she's done is interesting. So I'm not going to go and watch anything she's in, but that's just like I feel the same about all these young like singers that are out there. Like I feel empathetic for Miley Cyrus to a certain extent too cuz on top of whatever crap she was being put through with Disney, she was probably being touched by her father as well.
I don't know that. I have no idea what happened. I can't comment one way or another. That is something that you've speculated on, and here at
Yeah.
Price of Reason Studios, we are not taking a position on such a statement.
Just saying, like Tim Hayes says, she is being a bitch and she needs to be blacklisted. Not sure she should even be movies if it hadn't been for that woke ass Spielberg remake of the West Side. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think she would have had any exposure if it weren't for Spielberg. And she's a bitch,
Right.
but I can see that I definitely feel like I get the feeling that this is just a young woman that has unfortunately been taken advantage of and being led the wrong direction. And I do empathize. Like I
I
have
I
sympathy for her
To an
because of that.
extent. I mean, the thing is that I think to myself in the 20s, yes, I've made some mistakes. I did some stupid things, but there is a certain point where you're making this kind of money. And you know what? It's one thing if like she did everything fine and then she made a mistake, it's a big blunder. She says whatever it is, she moves on. She just time after time, again and again, does it over and over again without learning anything. And at some point you think to yourself, well, she just continues to do it, and all this kind of surrounding enables her, and everybody is enabling her, and the media enables her, and her family enables her. And at the end, it's like, you know what? I can't start looking at empathy towards her. She's annoying. She does shitty things, and really, I'm sick of it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, if you look in my channel, there's channels that like have gained like millions of followers just doing like shitty videos about her, especially when all that Snow White things happen.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
look at the history of my channel, you'll see very, very few videos that I've made, especially during that time that so many people were doing,
Mhm.
because I kind of had that feeling that you did, that I don't like kicking a person when they're down. But you know what? At some point, I said to myself, I've had enough. You know what I mean? Like, I gave that minimum credit even though she didn't deserve it, and now like the empathy is gone. I don't care at this point. I think she's annoying, and she's already made her money. Even if she doesn't work, she'll probably have money unless she flushed it down the toilet. And she's a pompous, annoying, condescending young lady. Sorry, I don't have to say sorry, Sean.
You're good. You're
Yeah,
good.
I'm
I'm
good.
on the same page as you. I'm just like on a different paragraph on the same page, if
I
that makes
respect
sense.
what you're
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
because I had that feeling initially, but I was converted to the, you know what, like, fuck off camp.
I still feel that's true. But yeah, I'm the same thing. I think she's annoying. I'm not gonna watch anything with her in it. I think she's a hack job. I just don't care. But
The
like
dead
I
man
yeah.
says, Price, I'm going to bed. Good night. Good night, the dead man. Always great having you here. The dead man is a friend of the channel, and it's always great to have him,
Bye, dead
part of
man.
our
Don't
chat.
don't wake up dead.
Don't wait. Don't wake up dead. Exactly.
How could you go to
And
bed dead if you wake up dead?
Tim Hayes says that Miley Cyrus seems to turn into a butch lesbian. Yeah, I don't know. Should Miley Cyrus? Some people like Miley Cyrus, and the truth is that I've never really seen what's so great about her. Uh, I don't think
Um,
that her singing is anything to write home about. It's just all right. Her music is certainly not something to write about home about. I don't particularly, her looks, maybe they may suit somebody's taste, but they don't particularly interest me. And her personality, like, I don't really, it's not, has not really won me over. And once I actually was in close proximity to her, like I saw her, somewhere in person,
Hmm.
and wasn't impressed with her then either. So I've basically never been impressed with her. But if you like her, it's fine. I mean, if people like Miley Cyrus, that's perfectly fine. And it doesn't bother me. It's just that I don't see what's so special about her. But to each their own.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same. I haven't heard enough of her stuff or whatever to have developed an opinion, but she definitely comes off as someone who was diddled as a child. That's all.
I mean, again, this is a theory that you've laid, and I have never seen anything to suggest that that's what happened to her as a child. I think as far as I can tell, as a child, she was spoiled, she was given a lot of money through her family. They helped build that whole career of hers, and since then she's been riding that success and I guess making
I
money.
don't. Yeah, I'm not gonna dive into it because that will be very inappropriate for YouTube. But just like I have evidence, just trust me, bro. Just trust me.
Source, trust me, bro. Okay.
Exactly. Just trust me.
All right. Well, I mean, if you said it, you said it. I honestly, even though I don't, not it's not my preference, uh, like her. But if something bad like that happened, I obviously that wouldn't be a good thing. It's not like I would wish anything bad to happen to her, but
Yeah, I
you
just
you
I don't like agree with her behavior. I don't but like it's just there's very telling signs there and I have sympathy for her as a result.
well, Cosgrove seemed to think that maybe she spent time with the diddler.
Probably did.
But in any case, I still think that until today that, like, it's so crazy that, like, the diddler, it couldn't have, like, sometimes, like, life is more bizarre than fiction, like, that the nickname is just it's almost too perfect.
Oh, it's beautiful. By the oh, I started using my iPod again recently and I was listening to a song. I was like, "Oh, I kind of like this song." And then I look and it's like P Diddy. I'm like, "Oh, can I still like P Diddy songs in 2024?"
First of all, you can't, but not because of what he did, just because his songs suck.
It was one song and
Was it
Chris
Godzilla? What was it?
no, it was
Every Move You Make?
no, Tell Me with Christina Aguilera.
Well, at least Christina Aguilera knows how to sing, so maybe, like, she can make that song bearable. I don't even know which song it is. He's definitely not gonna make the song good.
Oh, yeah, I didn't really care for his parts, but I liked her parts, but that's usually not my type of music anyway, so I was kind of surprised like, "Oh, it's Diddy though."
But in any case, he was always I mean, again, this is just my personal opinion. He basically capitalized on the fact that Biggie died, which in and of itself is suspicious, but I'm not gonna get into that on YouTube. I'll shut up now about that.
Mhm.
But in any case, once, Biggie died, he started saying, "Oh, I'll appear on records," like, to commemorating his memory and stuff, and that's how he started appearing on, like, tracks. Before that, he
Oh.
wouldn't even be on a track, like, nobody he's not even a rapper, you know what I mean? He's basically a guy that he was the hustler that would get, like, these deals and record deals and do all this kind of, like, dealings to get them, the records out and things like that. He wasn't really a rapper. He only started putting himself in music really and, like, becoming a name uh Biggie died, and he sort of in a way capitalized on his death.
Hmm.
Otherwise, nobody would have let him be on a song at all. Like, he's not even that good of a rapper. Whether you like
Interesting.
rap or not, he himself is not a good rapper.
Hmm.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, he even his, like, rap career is kind of,
No, I told because like even I'm just saying like I like before all of this broke, like when I was in high school, for example, right? Like I knew who P Diddy was. I knew what artists he was typically associated with, but I had never heard and like his music was not popular. You know what I mean? So it's like he was just like a guy that was there and he was famous because he knew all these other people. That was my early assessment of him. And you saying this now, it's like, oh, that's kind of accurate, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that, again, I'm okay with hip hop. There's certain things that I like, especially the more old school stuff, but it's not my primary. I'm more of a rock guy, but I still can respect hip hop. I
Mhm.
think that when I hear artists like Biggie and like Tupac, I can tell that they actually had real talent.
Mm.
Uh, Diddy was basically like piggyback riding on the success of Bi of like Notorious Big, which was his artist. And again,
Sorry,
he
common people. Price is just salty because he thinks Diddy stole his music.
no, Diddy didn't steal my music. I don't really do rap, so I don't think that would be the case. But what I'll say is that I think that he stole Biggie's. I mean, here's the thing, and I want to be really careful here. Listen to the timeline. Biggie dies,
Mhm.
and then suddenly Diddy appears on tracks and becomes sort of an artist, even though nobody thought he was an artist.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, I can see the dots you're trying to connect without being too detailed
He was the
because it
one that was supposedly in charge of Biggie's career. Biggie died, and then Diddy was so heartbroken that he took his place.
heartbroken quotes.
Again, YouTube is a place where we should probably shut up. We're going to very dark places.
We are.
We're going to very, very dark places. But it's always seemed weird to me because he owned that catalog. The second that Biggie dies, the catalog becomes a lot more valuable. He's in the spotlight. He puts himself in songs. Now he's doing songs for like Godzilla. You want a song with Christina Aguilera, he's there. I mean, 5 minutes earlier, he wasn't even a rapper.
Mm.
Just saying. And he's not on the level of Biggie. If you now like objectively, if I put on like Tupac, Biggie, and Diddy, you're gonna just laugh. Like those guys were real rappers. This guy's like a joke. And it doesn't
Oh,
matter if
for
you
sure.
like rappers or don't like rappers. I'm saying that those guys knew what they were doing. This guy is not on that level.
That's fair. I can actually like yeah, no, I could tell that if you were to put on like examples from all three.
Yeah, I mean, Cosgrove says usurped, not stole. Maybe that's what happened. But yeah, it's so strange because both Biggie and Tupac died very close to each other, and then the two people that were in charge of Biggie and Tupac, they seem to have, and it's probably just a coincidence. They seem to have benefited,
Mm. Mm.
but
Hmm.
it's probably just me imagining it. I mean, it just nobody planned for this to happen. It just happened, and then suddenly they benefited. I suppose.
We suppose, yes. Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
The world is a mysterious place and strange coincidences happen, I suppose.
Yeah. Professor R2 says change topics price. Talk about autoerotic asphyxiation.
The reason he brought that up is once it was such a bizarre stream. We streamed for a number of hours, and suddenly, like in the middle of the night, Robot Head shows up, and we start talking about like singers that died under mysterious circumstances. And man, that conversation went to such a bizarre and dark place. And the more we were talking about like the weirdest things ever, the audience was like growing and growing. It was such a strange phenomena. I'm like, what are people tuning in to listen to? What are we even talking about? And it was the weirdest thing. It's like it was, I was talking about how the, sorry, I'm like I'm having an
You're
attack now
good.
just
You're
thinking out.
good.
It was like because the guy from In Excess and how his life may have ended. Man, I don't know what there was just that whole conversation went completely like off the rails. I just thought about it now and had like an attack of laughing just thinking of what a crazy crazy thing it was. Yeah, Michael Hutchins. Because we were
Nice.
saying that Michael Hutchins was basically on top of the world, but then they found him in his hotel room, and it's as if he kind of I don't want to say it, but he unalived or whatever. But it was
Oh.
under strange circumstances, and I don't know. The conversation went to a very dark place. But let's not think about that now or ever again.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that we've gone over a lot of interesting topics. Is there anything else before we kind of start wrapping up? Was there something you wanted to talk about?
Not really. No, I think we covered everything.
I think it was pretty fun. I hope that you have more time in the future.
I really enjoyed this. I missed being here. Just like Thursdays, I'm usually recording another podcast, and I'm also not up this late usually. It's 2:38 in the morning for me now.
I
Um,
see.
I'm usually in bed by now because I have found that my health has been a lot better not doing late night streams. um, but no, it was good to be back. Maybe I can be back in during the holidays because I'll have more time then.
That would certainly be nice. I
Mhm.
also I'll end on this nice little article because I think it's kind of interesting.
Oh, okay, okay.
Maybe if people saw it before, I didn't see it until now, but I thought it was interesting that Alec Baldwin says Americans know little or nothing about the world. You know, if I
Um,
was Alec Baldwin, I probably, maybe in his situation, it would be best if kind of to shut up.
Sharon Stone recently said something similar as well.
It's like I think that a lot of these celebrities, they've been given like they downloaded new patches. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's like Trump won the elections, and then like there's a new update. You know, when like there's a new software update, and do you want to update the software?
Yep.
Like or there's a patch to the operating system. You want to update the operating system? So they for a few days, their whole systems were shutting down, and then I guess like a patch was put together by like the authorities that control them, and then they downloaded the patch, they installed it, and the new patch is either we're leaving the country, Americans don't know anything, they're stupid, and things like that. This is their new this is the new latest version. It's like an antivirus, but one
Can
that
you
does the opposite of anything good.
can you scroll down a little bit? I just wanna I wanna see oh, yeah, that's why there's avoidant information on the biggest issues in the world. Americans know little or nothing on climate change, on Ukraine. That void is filled in part by the film industry, by documentaries and narrative films.
I mean, the thing is, this man killed a woman on a set. Really, climate change? That's what he's going with now? It's like there's certain people, if I were them, I would really shut up. I think he's in a position that if he can even work now, he should be super thankful. If this guy was like a right wing person or some kind of conservative or anything like that, that person would be finished. Never working again. Nobody would talk to him. He'd get no movies. Nobody would interview him. That person would be persona non grata. Only this guy can do what he did. And because he has like the right politics, they somehow let him even say this shit in like the Hollywood Reporter.
This is just, like, so insulting, like, Americans more than ever are living paycheck to paycheck. Poverty is on the rise, like, bill like, just everything has become more expensive. Climate change and Ukraine are not the things on
And
their
then
mind.
there are many challenges to face: the environment, the problem of plastic or permafrost. There are plastic molecules in every corner of the planet. These are real problems to solve. Dude, you killed a woman. Shut up. It will be necessary for every building to have an alternative energy component. Every hospital, school, airport, and government building will have to have photovoltaic
Faultic,
full,
yeah.
panels on the roof. We must force states to work on alternative energy. Shut up. But we will never get rid of oil and gas. Can you imagine an ambulance car or fire department car that runs on electricity and has to be refueled at a charging station? What do you want, you dumb fucking idiot? You should be thankful that you're just walking around and people are just letting you do your job.
You know, Alec, one of the ways that you can fight climate change is by enrolling in this program that they have in Canada called MAID. You can really help lower carbon emissions that way. Just saying.
Maybe he should like learn first of all not to shoot people on his set. Really, I mean, the fact I'm telling you, like, forget about all of his stupid bullshit. The fact that in his brain now, he's not even thinking I killed a woman. Now you can say that whether it was his fault completely or not, or they let him off or they didn't let him off. But like, if you're that guy, just be a little bit more humble. Just shut up. You know, I, a normal person that's not an egotistical jerk like this guy would at least be sort of humbled by that experience. Instead, it's like, nope, business as usual. Climate change, climate change. Shut up.
I agree with you.
Learning nothing, these celebrities. This is just like dumb shit. But
They're
yeah, that
paid
was
to say things, they're paid to act, so they're paid to have a certain personality. That's how I look at celebrities. You shouldn't, even if they say the thing that you agree with, you shouldn't agree with them whatsoever because they are usually paid to say something.
Tom Hardy, Helen Mirren, Pierce Brosnan star in new Guy Ritchie crime series at Showtime. That doesn't sound bad.
That's a very nice lineup. I like that.
It sounds good to me. Where is it? Where is it happening? The series is produced with 101 Studios. That's not a bad thing either. Let's see for a second. Let me see. I can't see where it starts.
It just says 2025. It'll premiere. It doesn't say
2025.
when.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm up for it.
Something to look forward to.
Sounds like a good cast. Guy Ritchie could potentially do something good. Let's
He's
hope
got
it's
it in
not
him.
shitty.
Yeah.
And I guess on that very positive note, I'll just go quickly see the people that were hanging out with us, do some shout outs, and then we can all go our separate ways.
To bed, you mean?
To bed?
To bed. I'm going to bed. I'm exhausted.
Isn't that our separate ways? I mean, we're
Yeah. Separate
sleeping
ways
in
to bed.
right. I mean, we're sleeping in
Yeah.
different beds, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yes, that wasn't.
we're not in the same location, and we're going separate ways. I feel like my description was fine here. I don't know how the bed got involved in the whole
I'm sorry.
situation.
I'm tired and I'm looking at my bed. That's why, and it's just very welcoming.
I appreciate that. So the time scales is the Phobos, Whalem 03, the Gourd King. Nice to see you here. The time scales, like the Empress and M is the Phobos, Professor R2, obviously, Human. Oh, Human. I got it. Human. Eraserhead, Amy S. There, some of them are like repeat messengers. Robnut Skubla, Jacob Ironside. If I forget somebody, I'm sorry. Dude Bro Seth, 420, always good to see you here. On the Rumble side, Cling09. Let's see. Davina Duckworth. Jeremy Winfield. Some of
Tim
these are
Hayes, Senpai 76.
Caleb Levine.
Empress NM. Empress.
Yep. Murrockstra, Empress NM.
Oh, Cosgrove.
Cosgrove, that's another good one. Smilex.
The Dead Man.
The Dead
Adam
Man.
Gray.
Dead Man is always cool. Let's see. Hold on one second. Davina Duckworth, we said. Rockstar Superior Nav. Tim Hayes, you said. There was also I have no dick. Justin Cook.
No dick.
I tried to separate those two words as much as I could. Poker Race. Whatever that means. Adam Gray. There is Senpai 76. Eraserhead, I think I said, but I don't know. Yeah, I think we went over everybody. If I missed somebody, I apologize. Thank you all for hanging out with us on this lovely Thanksgiving day, and thank you to our special guest here, Vex Electronica. So great to have her here on the show again. She was actually on the second and third episodes of this thing, she was here, and that's a very early version of the show that she's been here. I don't know if
Mhm.
you remember, Vex, that you were here really early on.
I do remember.
So hopefully it looks more interesting now than it did then. I think then it was like you and me talking to ourselves,
Yeah, and we were stoned one of those episodes.
allegedly.
Oh, sorry. Allegedly, we were
Uh, there's so much alleged activities going on this channel and in the
I
world.
guess, yeah, yeah. Allegedly, we were doing things and talking about a show. There you go.
It was a fun stream.
It was.
Let's put it that way. Both of those were fun.
Mhm, mhm.
And
It's always good to be here. Thank you for having me.
thank you, and honestly, really hope we see you again. I hope also when the professor is here, if we can have a nice hangout, that would be nice. Or the professor and even Sean, that would be cool as well.
Book me in during the holidays, man, and you're still Tuesdays and Thursdays, right?
Yep, every
Yeah.
Tuesday and Thursday, 11:45 p.m. Eastern. And if you're watching this, whatever platform you're on, make sure to follow, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, not only to this channel, whatever you're watching, but also to Vex Electronica. She's on Twitter, she's on YouTube. I think she's on Rumble. Anywhere that you are on a platform, search for Vex Electronica and follow her wherever she's at, because she's
Thanks,
great
man.
and she does a lot of great reviews, and it's always a pleasure talking with her.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out with us. And I guess that's it. Let's end the stream.
Mhm. Good night, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving. Have a great weekend as well.
Good night.